Yes, we have now a quorum. I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. Good evening, everyone. We're going to go ahead. I know Dr. Marsden has something that he wants to share.
So I'd like to ask the board if any of the members recall Miss Elisa Diaz was the first Latina elected to the Board of Education, San Bernardino City Unified School District. She served 3 terms on our district's board, and we received word she passed away today. She was in her 90s, yesterday in her 90s, and we just wanted to take a moment of silence to honor the memory of her. So if you join us, please, in a...
Can I say before we
Please,
take
Mr.
the moment of silence, because I actually served with
Yes, thank you, Mr.
Alicia Diaz for a couple of years when I first got on the board, and just so you know, she was just a loving, caring board member, and she really cared about the kids of the district. And she was an advocate, and she was a fighter, so just want to make sure she's remembered for always going overboard for doing what's best for the students of the San Bernardino School District. Thank you.
Thank you so much for
Thank
sharing
you.
that.
Please join us in a moment of silence. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. So I have special guests that are joining us today. They're a recent graduate from San Gregorio High School, and if I could read a little message about them, and as they start approaching to the podium, they will be doing the Pledge of Allegiance. I would love for the family as well to come forward with him, because this is a family effort. The message that I received was, Ms. Medina, thank you for talking with my son, Nicolas. After San Gregorio graduation, he was honored to have that you had taken this moment to speak with him. At his time, at San Gregorio, it was up and down. He endured 6 brain surgeries and his first 2 years due to spina bifida. And I'm sorry, I can't pronounce the second word that you put down.
Hydrocephalus.
If you could speak into the microphone.
Hydrocephalus.
And Nick is a tireless advocate for disabled access in the Inland Empire and the founder of the nationally competitive Los Angeles Kings sled hockey team for disabled kids and adults. He is currently attending Valley College and is aiming for UC Santa Barbara and the Arts Center College of Design later. One of the many, many fine assets that San Gregorio has released into this world. So thank you so much. And if you could just, yes, for the great accomplishments, but if you can briefly speak maybe a few words.
You can take the mic off.
Take the mic off, please. If you could just say a words on how your experience was with now that you've graduated, what your experience was at school.
I had some really great experiences in the San Bernardino school district. All the teachers, staff members, everyone that I encountered were very helpful in making sure I succeeded, and I'm really grateful. I see Mr. Tikel back there. He was my principal at Palm Avenue for a while. All right.
Thank you for sharing. That's amazing. And it shows how, are these both your parents?
Yes.
Yes, just an amazing work that you both have been doing to make sure that you advocate for your child no matter what. And we can definitely have great programs as long as parents are engaged and involved. So thank you so much for your support. So now we will go ahead and let you take the mic on regards to the Pledge of Allegiance.
Okay. Please stand. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Did any of the parents want to mention anything before? No? All right, thank you so much for reaching out. Yes.
We'd like to thank the board for all the growth that we've seen in the school district and the good work that you continue to put out for our students and our teachers. My wife and I are both staff members of the district as well, and we greatly appreciate everything that you folks do. So thank you very much, and keep it up.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, we're going to go ahead for the adoption of the agenda.
Second?
Are there any changes before we approve?
No changes.
Okay, so I'll call for the motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Okay, motion carried. Now we're going to 1.4, inspirational message by Dr. Marsden.
And I am actually yielding my time to Mr. Jenkins. I will not even try to top that success story. So congratulations, Mr. Jenkins and family. Thank you so much for your leadership.
Okay, so 2.0, special presentation. I will have, let me see here. Mr. Gallo, if you could read 2.1, resolution in support of the United States patriotic holidays.
I'd be happy to. See, this is resolution in support of the United States Patriots holidays. Whereas the history of the United States of America has been shaped by many important leaders and events, and whereas in order to develop an understanding and appreciation for our great nation, schools and students have a duty to study and learn about historic events and the many contributions of our presidents. And whereas Independence Day, July 4th, Patriot Day, September 11th, Constitution Day, September 17th, National Voter Registration Day, September 26th, Veterans Day, November 11th, Pearl Harbor Day, December 7th, and President's Day, February 19th, are some of the significant historical dates that should be highlighted with engaging and educational lessons and activities. Therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Education of the San Bernardino City Unified School District encourages all district schools to acknowledge and undertake educational activities that commemorate national patriotic holidays and the contributions of our American presidents. So moved.
Okay, any discussion? Now let's go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Okay, motion carried. We're going to go to 3.0, public hearing. We have two public hearings this evening. There's a 3.1 and then 3.2. Let's go ahead and start with 3.1, public disclosure of the tentative agreement. Article 6, wages, Article, is that 12 hours, Article 14, that looks like a 12, or transfer and student, that's 15, 16. Leaves between the San Bernardino Unified School District and Classified School Employees Association. So we're going to go ahead and page 11. We will now conduct a public hearing. Dr. Marsden, are there any blue slips for this item?
There are no public comments submitted for this item on the public hearing.
Okay. Yes, Dr. Flores?
Dr. Marston,
Yes.
I guess Dr. Wiseman will answer, correct? Yeah, okay. So I would just like to know how long it took in collaboration to make the revisions, because they're substantive to this agreement.
Thank you, Dr. Flores. Actually, we're proud to announce that our classified union CSEA in the district went through joint training on interest-based bargaining. And we did participate as collective teams in that process to get to this tentative agreement. This was over a period of, I would say, 3 to 4 months.
Okay. And I just wanted to note really wonderful observation that they want to collaborate and do collaborative work in terms of making other decisions and fine-tuning this, which I think is really great, so that all voices are heard. And it goes with hand in hand with what we're about in terms of inclusion for all the different voices. So I think it's very commendable in terms of negotiating a contract.
And Dr. Flores, I want to thank you for those comments. I want to also publicly thank and acknowledge Sandra Rodriguez for her leadership in this round of negotiations. She did some great work with both our district team as well as our CSEA team. So thank you so much.
Yes, good work, everybody. That's the end of my comments.
Okay, thank you. So I'm going to go ahead and read. Be it resolved that the Board of Education accepts the tentative agreement between the Classified School Employees Association and the San Bernardino Unified School District. Be resolved that the Board of Education adopts the tentative agreement, Article 6, wages, Article 11, or otherwise it's 9, hours, Article 12, transfers, and Article 14, leaves, between Classified School Employees Association and San Bernardino Unified School District. Can I have a motion? Is there a okay, second. Any discussion? If not, let's go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Okay, motion carried. Now, our last public hearing is for 3.2, public hearing for Talion San Bernardino Academy, and we will have, we have blue slips, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and I want to announce to the public that are here to speak on behalf of or in discussion of Talion, the San Bernardino Academy. We would ask that you understand that this will be the only point on the agenda where you will speak to this topic. So if you have comments to make regarding Talion in one way or another, we'd ask that you'd please organize yourselves appropriately, and you'll be given the time necessary to speak on this topic. So good evening and welcome. I also understand we have Fatima Adame is here, as well as Barbara Pastachek, who will speak during your times appropriately on this comment, and any others that need to organize themselves appropriately. Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening.
And
Good
just
evening,
please
everyone.
state your name for the board.
Yes, my name is Benoni Pantoja. I'm the Vice President of Schools for Talion Academy. President Medina, members of the board, Dr. Marsden, members of the cabinet, thank you for this opportunity. Today you're going to hear from the Talion family of why you should vote yes on July 24th. We are not new to the community. We've been existing in the community for the last 4 years. Our mission is to bridge, therefore, that's why I have this little bridge here as a visual representation, the academic achievement gap through a personalized learning model that prepares students to be college and or career ready. We also want to build a bridge with our students and their dreams. We also want to build a bridge with the community of San Bernardino, which we have been doing for the last several years. We also desire to build a bridge with San Bernardino City Unified School District as well. Vote yes on July 24th for Talion Academy, because we continue to want to build bridges and empower the community. And today you're going to hear from our stakeholders on why they believe the bridge must continue. So at this time, I'd like to introduce the principal, Eva Helt.
President Medina, esteemed board members, I'm Eva Helt, the principal of Talion Academy. Thank you for this opportunity to address the board concerning our charter petition. As Mr. Pantoja said, Talion is technically not a new charter. We've been functioning and serving the San Bernardino community for the last 4 years. In the past 4 years, we have serviced approximately 1,000 students, including those who have graduated with Talion and those who, after recovering credits, have returned to their local public schools. We are very proud of our emphasis on PLP, or Personal Learning Plan. Approximately 70% of our students come to us credit deficient or haven't been successful in the traditional classroom setting for a variety of reasons. We take advantage of this opportunity to work with the students to develop a path that is specific and purposeful according to their needs and their goals to ensure their success, whether it be college or career. In the past 4 years, we have graduated approximately 150 students, not including the 50 students we graduated just last week. Although we are a relatively young school, we're very proud to report that last year the Western Association of Schools and Colleges granted us a 6-year accreditation with a 3-year visit. I could tell you so much more about our school, but at this point I'd like to turn it over to our students, who are the heart and soul of our program and, quite honestly, more interesting to listen to.
Good evening, San Bernardino School Board. My name is Ariana Osigeda, and I would like to share my academic experience at Talion with you. I am a current freshman at Talion Academy, and I have nothing but great things to say about Talion. I am only 14 years old, and I can assure you that I will be doing great things after I graduate from high school. I will be receiving my workforce readiness certificate this week after I finish the last class. I'm also finishing my last year at Talion with all of my credits. I think it's safe to say that my school has helped me get a good head on my shoulders at a young age. Before coming to Talion in middle school, I was not on the right track as far as hanging out with the wrong crowd and getting not so good grade. Talion hits close to home because my brother graduated last year, and my mom was well aware of the school's program. She decided that Talion would fit best for me as far as getting on the right track and meeting new people. I will be graduating in my junior year, and I'm in a workforce program where I've learned interview skills, resume building, and how to properly navigate the workforce. Talion is a great school, and the teachers motivate us to do better, and it would be a shame if you guys were to close it down. The teachers there, we're really like a team there. They really care for us. In public schools, like for instance, any other school, they don't really care. They don't take the time to sit down with us and focus that one-on-one. But here at Talion, they do. I want to thank the board for their time, that you please consider approving the charter of Talion Academy. I could not have made it this far I would not have made it this far going to Cologne. Thank you for your time.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Raymond Guerra. I'm someone who is often stereotyped and categorized based on the way I look. In the past, when I attended other schools during my middle school years, I was not given the respect and support I needed to excel in my studies. By the time I reached high school, I had created an idea of who I was going to be. I was going to just be another person who failed out in my previous high school. I often ditched and got low grades and found myself in many bad situations. My mom took action to put me on a better path and enrolled me at Talion Academy in San Bernardino. After the great things she had heard about the school, Talion would help me recover my credits and give me smaller classroom experiences. I transferred my last semester of freshman year and I had no credits. And with the help of my teachers, I finished semester at Talion Academy with 10th grade credits. Talion respected me, gave me the time I needed, and never gave up on me based on my past. The teacher at my schools have love in them for the work that they do. And they don't give up on kids like me, and they desire to help kids like me. Whenever I need help, they're there to support me and make sure they give me the time I need to understand my work. That is all I've asked for, time and patience. I'm currently doing really well at Talion Academy, and I'm extremely involved with the campus. I often help with artwork for student council and volunteer my time to help on busy days. My grades have improved a lot, and I've set goals for myself after I graduate. I once believed that the college I'd be going to was prison. Now my goals after high school are to attend Barber College program and then follow that with Bible College. Because like Talion Academy, I want to make a difference in kids' life. Talion Academy did not assume who I was based on my looks. They took the time to get to know me and motivate me to do better. I know there are students like me out there now, and there will be students like me in the future. Talion Academy needs to be there for them. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Daisy Solano, and I'm a current student at Talion Academy. I have been at the school for 2 years, and I'm proud to be sharing my story with you all. The teachers and staff at Talion Academy have also refused to allow me to be a high school dropout. I'm a proud mother of an 11-month-old baby. I continue to stay in school because of my daughter and because of the support I have received at Talion Academy. It feels like a family away from home. Being a young mother has not been easy, and I have had many moments where I have felt like I was not going to be able to graduate. I have had several moments where I felt overwhelmed with all the changes that are taking place in my life. When I was pregnant, I had often had to miss school due to the appointments and because of feeling sick. I was not prepared to be a mother. Even now, I have moments where I struggle with balancing out my responsibilities as a mother and completing the classes I need to finish. But the teachers are being patient with me and are motivating me not to give up on myself. The teachers help me get back on track when I feel lost. I have struggled with anxiety all my life and cannot believe I'm standing here speaking to everyone in this room. Being involved in student council has really motivated me to express myself and socialize with other students. The small class size at my school have also helped me not feel overwhelmed and surrounded by other students. I want to thank Talion Academy for the continued support that I have received from them. My sister graduated from the school last week, even though she will not be going to campus with me like we have for the last 2 years. I still plan on being involved on campus and participating in community events. I really enjoyed planting trees on Arbor Day, and it had helped me break away from my fears. I want to follow in my sister's footsteps in graduating, and I want to continue to be a good role model for my daughter. Dear Board, as you consider the approval of Talion's charter petition, please keep in mind that this school is where I have grown and I have overcome my personal struggles. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Christopher Ortiz, and I'm the Outreach Coordinator at Talion Academy. I assist with Student Council, community engagement, and focus on ensuring that our students have additional resources while they go through our independent studies program. There is a perceived notion that students enrolled in an independent studies program do not have the resources that they need to successfully become civic leaders and community advocates. At our campus, we focus on our students' strengths and allow our students to grow. We make it a point to have our students socialize and engage with our community. This is made possible by our partnerships, and I would like to thank the San Bernardino Valley College, my awesome empire at California State University, San Bernardino, the San Bernardino Parks and Recreational Department, and our workforce readiness program that we currently have at our campus. These are just to name a few of our programs that we have. At this time, I would like to introduce one of our community partners, Dr. Charles, who oversees our workforce readiness program at our campus.
Thank you, Chris. Madam President, Madam Vice President, Dr. Martin, I'd like to thank you so much for giving us some time here. I am a doctor, professor working at San Bernardino Valley College on the Workforce Readiness Program. I've worked with Albert Manuel for the last 1.5 years now in developing the program. We were very instrumental in getting Cajon through. I think that was the first high school to get through the program, and now they're all doing, the 17 students that we had are doing it, well, they finished their internships at Arrowhead Medical. I can emphatically say that working with Talion and the staff was a pleasure and is greatly needed for these students. In the high schools that I've seen, a lot of the classrooms are filled. Currently, I'm working at Cajon now in the summer, and I have close to 40 students. There are certain students that can survive with the number of students that's like that, but there are certain students that really need that tender, loving care. The passion that I have seen with the staff at Talion is bar to none. They take the time to individually work with them. I can give you scenarios and case studies. We did a lot of field trips because we felt as though there was situations where we needed to do some more hands-on approach. They worked on Saturdays, they worked on Sundays, they gave them the individual needs that they needed. Not to even mention some of the other things that we did, like presentations and essays at the APA college level, okay? And they were able to do it. I'm talking about 20, 25-page essays. So I believe that with the workforce readiness program, with the support that these students have, the individual support that they need, I think a lot of these students may fall through the cracks without this type of program. I emphatically support it. I think that going forward, the thing that they need is just a support from you guys. They really do. We're going to be there. I know you know about the workforce readiness program from vocational education class 600, 601, 602, and 603. I've successfully taken many of these students that you see here through the program, and hopefully we can take many more through that because they just need to know that we care. And I'm there with them, Valley College is with them, and I'm sure with your support they will succeed. So thank you so much for my time. For your time.
And at this time, we'd like to share what Talion really means to us and why we're so passionate about what we do at our campus. Our campus, we focus on making sure that we graduate our students, that our students are successful, not only while they're with us, but after they graduate. If you guys are able to please pull the presentation, and then this is what we'd like to share. Thank you for offering us the opportunity to show you that video that embodies what Talion really means. At this time, we'd also like to bring up a few more students that would like to share their story and are really passionate about why Talion has assisted them. We also have parents that would like to
Maybe if we could ask you to remove the microphone from the stand and you'll put it close to your mouth and then they'll put it close to theirs so everybody can hear very well. Thank you.
I apologize for
No,
that.
that's fine.
Yes.
Thank you.
So at this time, we will have one of our students, Diego.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Diego Martinez, and I graduated from Talion Academy last week on June 13th. It has been one of my proudest moments, and I'm still in shock that I walked across that stage. My 3 sisters and brothers have all graduated, and I'm proud to be joining them finally. Before attending Talion Academy, I did not believe that I would ever graduate from high school. I have had many self-doubt and often struggled in the classroom. I was also very shy and never wanted to ask for help even when I needed it. I did not feel comfortable asking for help with so many students in the classroom. I also felt that my teachers were moving at such a fast pace with the work. I was afraid of exposing myself of falling behind. Today I stand here before you, a brand new person. In just a year and a half, the teachers and staff at Talion have helped me gain a new sense of confidence and establish a new set of goals for my future. I like Talion because of the small classroom setting and the teachers drive to see us succeed. When our teachers see us fall behind or struggle, they take the time to check on us and see what they can do to help. I was struggling with my English class, and my teacher noticed it. It was becoming an obstacle for me and my graduation goals. I'm happy to say that I earned an A in the class that I was sure I was going to fail. Ms. Powell helped me with assignments and suggested creative tips that made my reading much easier to understand. Talion Academy has become a second home for me. I often spend time doing homework and asking my teachers for help on assignments that I was struggling with. That's how comfortable I became at Talion. When I first arrived at Talion, I only had one friend who was already at the school. I joined student council with my friend, and I slowly developed a liking to talking to other students. Every morning, the staff greeted me as I arrived to school, and it felt good being acknowledged. I was just not another student at the school. I was Diego Martinez. The staff helped me motivate me and push me to participate in campus activities. Since I attended a field trip in Cal State LA with my school, I opened my eyes to see that there is more out there. I will be attending Valley College, and once I finish my 2 years, I will be transferring to Cal State LA. I want to study technology and mechanical engineering. Another great thing about my school is the flexibility and opportunity to follow my dreams. I love soccer and currently play for a local San Bernardino team. I was recruited by a professional team and will have the opportunity to go to Europe for the summer. I'm thankful for this opportunity and the teachers who supported me. They were willing to work with me to balance both my education and my passion for sports. I would also like to take the opportunity to thank Dr. Margaret Hill for giving me the time to talk about my school with her. Talion Academy is inspiring many of us, and I know students need a program like ours. Dear Board, as you consider the approval of a charter petition for Talion, I want you to keep in mind that lives are being changed. I want others to have the same opportunity that I had. I want all those students who lack self-confidence and never thought they could speak publicity to be inspired and grow to their full potential. Thank you. Have a good day.
Good evening. My name is Yvonne Solano, and I'm honored to be sharing my academic experience at Talion Academy with all of you on the school board. Talion Academy has a very special place in my heart. I have had a tough journey making it to the finish line, but with the support and motivation I have received at Talion Academy, I have made my goals a reality. I was the first to graduate in my family from high school. It was something I thought I would not accomplish in the past. I want to add that I was able to graduate as a junior because I took advantage of all the credit opportunities the school offered me. I was enrolled at Talion Academy since my freshman year, and I'm happy to say that I would not have had it any other way. The school has played a large role in creating the young woman that I have become. Before enrolling at Talion Academy, I had behavioral issues and always got in trouble. I was nothing like I am today. My relationship with my parents was rocky. I always tried to fight other students and spent most of my time being grounded. When I first started Talion, my bad habits carried on with me, and I soon realized that things were not like before at my previous schools. Students came to the campus to learn and were focused on becoming a better person than who they were before. I did not understand at first, why did these kids want to suddenly change? I know now it was the second chance we needed. As time passed, I began to notice that I wanted to continue to engage in the positive environment and community that Talion provided me with. The teachers and staff got to know the real me. I dropped my guard and allowed the teachers to mentor me and coach me in my tough times. I no longer had to fight to get my point across, and my parents no longer had to worry about me as often. I was safe, and the environment around me became positively impacting who I was as a young woman. By my last year at Talion, I became involved in several campus activities and assumed leadership roles when the opportunity came up. I could not have become the person I am today without the support of Talion Academy. I was pushed to my limits and educated on how to act as a leader. I could not reach my potential without leaving the old Yvonne Solano behind. Today, I am a responsible citizen, and I'm excited for my future thanks to the leadership experiences Talion Academy provided me with. I became Vice President of Student Council, and I have represented Talion Academy at many community and campus events such as Arbor Day and the painting of the bridge during our local improvement days. Talion Academy provided me with a sense of safety and a sense of self because they showed me that my voice matters. Because Talion made me feel heard, I no longer felt the need to yell or fight to get my message across, and because of this, I was able to experience growth and become a leader. Talion Academy means a lot to many of the students who have graduated from the school and those who are currently enrolled in the program. We all come from a different walk of life, but Talion plays a very important role in our success. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Anaya Paladin. I just graduated from Talion Academy just last week. I am going to explain how I feel this school has impacted me. I feel like this school has really helped me become more independent and involved in many community activities. At this school, I was allowed to work at my own pace and also allowed to work around my own schedule. Without being allowed to do that, I wouldn't have been able to join the San Bernardino Police Department Explorers program. Every Tuesday and Thursday, I would attend school, turn in homework, and talk with my teacher. Then on every Wednesday, I would go to the police department and train. I would also attend community events on weekends and some weekdays in other cities. So as you can see, my schedule was very busy, but without the school, I wouldn't have been able to do all of that and still graduate a year early. I remember when my grandpa was going through a rough time and I wouldn't have to stay at home and take care of my siblings. I would always go to visit him in the hospital because we didn't know if it was going to be his last day.
That's okay. You're doing good.
if it was going to be his last day or not. I would call the school and explain to them why I wouldn't be able to attend certain days. And they would always find a solution on how I can make up absences. And I thank the school to this day because I was given the chance to spend many long hours and days with my grandfather till his very last breath. So once again, thank you to Leon Academy for giving me many awesome opportunities. Thank you for your time.
Sorry. Hello, San Bernardino School District. My name is Elizabeth Santana. I am a proud parent of 7 children. Gerardo Mendez is my oldest. My son has been with Tania Academy since last year. It has been once the best experience we have both had with the school. Talian cares about students, works with them as they need. Talian promises education your way. That is what they deliver. Last week, June 13, I had the honor of seeing my son graduate from high school. I always feared that Gerardo would not graduate on time because all those times we were facing as a family. Sorry.
That's okay.
We were I'm sorry. When Gerardo was attending school, he was missing a lot and had fallen behind. My son had surgery in his leg, and when he finally recovered, we returned. We were informed about the credits he was missing. I decided to look for other opportunities to find and found Talian Academy. We would have the opportunity to recover his last credit and get back on track to graduate. As a parent, you always want to see your child's success and overcome the obstacles and challenge them. I felt that the challenge my son was facing had the upper hand and they would hold him back. My son's teacher, Mr. Marron, worked with Gerardo and me. We were facing tough times. He could have easily given up on my son like the previous teachers did. Instead, he made it and point to get to know what was happening and how Gerardo could complete his classes with the independent studies program. Gerardo was a very shy kid, and I always contact his teacher to ask many questions. Each time I was answered with respect. Mr. Monroe made time for my son and I have never been in a school where they helped me and my son so much. Gerardo began independent study in Italian. It was really flexible for him and me. Halfway through the year, I was injured, my leg. My son began to miss a lot of school again. He helped me by recovering. He helped me with learning to walk again. I couldn't walk. So I was like a baby, so he had to show me how to walk again. His teacher was very understanding, and with those times we were facing. An independent study was really benefit for my son in this time of our lives. I want to thank Talian Academy for all their help and the teachers for helping their students. Thank you for helping Gerardo graduate, Mr. Marron. You are a blessing. Please approve Italian Academy that they can continue doing the great work that they do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you once again for this opportunity to share a little bit about our school. And as you go through the month before the vote, we hope that you will consider the things that you have heard tonight. And we look forward to seeing you in another month. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. So the board welcomes Ms. Fatima.
Good evening, board, superintendent, staff, and community members. My name is Fatima Cristerna Adame with the California Charter Schools Association, again, before you tonight. And I represent the association in encouraging you to approve the petition for Talion San Bernardino Academy. Our school development team has been working with the leadership at Talion over the last year on this petition and know that it meets the legal, education, and fiscal requirements for district approval. We also know that they are already offering a high-quality choice to families throughout San Bernardino. This school is a little different than the ones that have been before you in that it is both new and existing. And that is because of a recent court decision, Shasta v. Anderson. Now the group needs to comply with the new regulations by seeking your authorization, which is a little unique, more unique than what you're used to hearing. The nonprofit organization is running a K-12 program with hundreds of students, and it's growing to fit the needs of all of its students, as you heard here tonight. The Charter Schools Act expressly states that a chartering authority shall be guided by the intent of the legislature, that charter schools are and become an integral part of the California educational system, and that establishment of a charter school should be encouraged per Education Code 47605B. It is the legislative intent that a petition for establishment of a charter school be approved by the chartering authority so long as the petition meets all legal requirements for establishment of a charter school as enumbered by the Act. Again, what that Ed Code fails to acknowledge is all the schools that are now in limbo because of the Shasta v. Anderson case, which is why they're now petitioning before you and so many other school districts. After our review of our petition, we believe that the Talion San Bernardino Academy petition fits that criteria and is both legally compliant and a program wanted by the San Bernardino community, as evident from tonight's showing outpouring of support by students and their parents. And again, we just can't continue to thank you enough, and your staff and Director of Charter School Services, Mr. Christopher Tical, and his staff for constantly working with our charter schools, existing and new, in working through the system. Ultimately, we just want to thank you because we know that square pegs don't always fit in round holes and vice versa. And so what our charter schools are providing, like Talion, is an opportunity for students who don't fit the traditional mold to find a way to adapt education to what their lifestyle needs for them. So I can't thank you enough for constantly being supportive of all the children in our district. And again, we thank you and hope that you will approve this school in the coming month. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Board welcomes Ms. Barbara Pastachik from our San Bernardino Teachers Association.
Good evening, President Rogers, Vice President Medina, Superintendent Marsden, board members, and cabinet. I am Barbara Pastachek, Vice President of the San Bernardino Teachers Association. I'm speaking tonight on behalf of the 3,000 members of SBTA in opposition to the charter petition for Talion Charter Academy for the following reasons. Talion operates an independent study program. We already offer these type of educational programs within SBCUSD at the Alternative Learning Center. Further, there are already 4 existing charter schools within San Bernardino that offer this exact same program. At this time, SBTA asserts that due to the current level of access to and the duplication of educational services, there is no need to approve another program since there are already several options that currently operate within the boundaries of SBCUSD. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara.
Thank you.
I just wanted to make a clarification.
Am I on? Barbara, thank you for your comments. One just clarifying comment for us up here. We just wanted to make sure that we know that you were probably reading from what you had written, but President Medina and Vice President Gwen Rogers, thank you for acknowledgement.
Oh,
It's
I
okay.
apologize.
It's
Yes,
okay.
I was so sorry.
But I appreciate it.
I apologize.
All right, thank you.
And those are all the comments on Talion Academy.
Okay. And we will not be voting on this tonight, so thank you so much for your public comments. We'll go down. We will now okay, so we're going to go ahead and close the public hearing. 4.0 student achievement, 4.1 local control accountability plan, which is the LCAP and fiscal year 2018-19 final budget. Dr. Marsden?
Thank you, Madam President. It's great pleasure that we bring back to you for your purview tonight the local control accountability plan and fiscal year 2018-19 fiscal budget. The board gave direction to us at the last meeting to reconvene some community members, and we've done that, and you'll hear from our team on that process as well as an update from Ms. Christakis on the current state of our budget. So with that, Ms. Christakis.
Good evening, board. There isn't a lot more information on the budget related to what I presented to you at the last board meeting, except for the budget committee has submitted the final package to the governor, and we expect him to sign it. It should be by June 26th. In the language, it appears that the one-time dollars will be reduced. We thought they'd be 16 million. Our projection now is about 8 million, so about 50%. And those were one-time mandate dollars, but LCFF will be increased slightly, a little over 3 million. Dr. Mitchell will walk through how we can still budget for some of the, most of the items that the community asked for, based on projected carryover, using those LCFF dollars and then the $8 million. So he'll give that to you. We will bring you the final budget information 45 days after the governor has approved the budget.
Any board comments? Dr. Flores?
Are you guys going to present it?
No, I'm not presenting the budget again. I presented at the last two meetings. Dr.
Right.
Mitchell is going to talk about the LCAP item with
Okay,
both
so
of you.
it's based on all the previous
Yes.
presentations that you made?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Flores.
I wanted to ask just two questions. And I'm just curious. You know, we have to save so much money for reserves. So, and we do it every single year because it's required. So what do we have total in reserves? I couldn't find that in our budget.
Yes, you can.
I looked for it.
So let me get the page to you, and then do you want Dr. Mitchell to start, and I'll get that to
Right.
you?
I just wanted to know, because it is a law that we have to have so much reserves.
We
And
have
I
to
know
have
that we have a
2%.
percentage every single year, but I'm curious as to how much do we have in our reserves total to date?
So I'm going to give that to you. I just want to get to the right page.
Yeah.
Why don't we allow Ms. Christakis to find that information, and then maybe if the board would like, we can have Dr. Mitchell present his portion, and then we can come back to that, or Mr. Tillman.
Mr. Tillman has a question?
Yeah, and I guess on the LCAP document, for instance, on line item number 1, it says professional development, and it says 2017, 2018 adopted budget, and there's a dash there. I'm assuming the dash is pertaining to what you say is designated in the quote-unquote LCAP for professional development, but I'm assuming there's another budget someplace else outside of LCAP that we're spending professional development money in, and it would be helpful to know how much money that is.
Be happy to provide that information for you, Mr. Tillman. So basically what we've done is all of the LCAP line items had some form of professional development. And so what we did to create more room in the individual line item budgets was to pull all of the professional development references from each of the line items and consolidate that into one line item. So you don't see an allocated budget for 17-18 because there was not one. But for 18-19, what we're proposing is to consolidate all of the professional development throughout all the line items. So if you look through each of the line items, where there's a reference to professional development, it will say allocation taken out of the professional line item at the top on line 1. So what we've done is just everywhere there's a line item reference to professional development, we put it into one category.
And just so I'm clear, you're talking about things only listed in LCAP?
Yes, but there are other dollars that we use professional development.
Right, and what that makes a huge difference to me, because I would get an idea of perspective in terms of if we're spending, are we spending another 3 million or 10 million or 20 million or 30 million in professional development, or are we spending another 1 million in professional development throughout the entire budget? That makes a big difference.
Absolutely, so I'd be happy to get that information.
Okay,
So in your book that you received in your board package,
Right.
I'll take you to the slide that we showed you at the last board meeting. It's on page 32.
On page
It's
42.
32 behind the tab.
32?
Yes. Behind the tab that says supplemental information. If you
Which
look-
number?
If you look at the column that says 2017-18, and you look at line number 6, the total ending balance for our total general fund is projected to be 96.9 million. 300,000 is for reserves and stores. 40.6 million is restricted programs. So a lot of that is our redevelopment dollars. We have the reserve for economic uncertainties of 13.5 million, and that's what you referenced, Dr. Flores?
Yes,
what
that's
is
what I
required.
referenced.
We have the 14 million that is for the textbooks that will be purchased next fiscal year, and the 2 years of TSSP. And then we have reserved for future deficit spending of 20.9 million. That is the ending balance.
Right, but my question, I don't know if I'm saying it correctly. We have reserves that we have to, for economic uncertainties every single year. So is it cumulative or is it just one time?
It's total. The total is 13.5 million. So it's
Okay.
2%.
Okay,
And
so
it will-
that's the total that we have.
And we keep it there, it stays there.
Okay,
Now, when your expenditures go up, you'll see that number go up because it's based on expenditures and transfers.
okay.
If expenditures go down, you'll see your budget goes down, it'll fluctuate slightly, but that's, and
Okay,
you'll
so that's
see
why in
next year it
next
goes
year
up a
it'll
little.
increase.
Yes,
Okay,
that's
okay.
correct.
I have 2 other questions. I didn't see, I know that we outsource transportation. And I don't know where that is. I wanted to know where that was. And then also the next question is, I couldn't find, and I read this pretty thoroughly, I couldn't find the total amount that we allocate for all the charter schools.
So let me respond to the transportation first. It is in the total for other services. That's your object code.
So it isn't named transportation, it's just
Not
other
specifically.
services?
It's within that.
It's within that budget?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
All right.
Under contracted services, along with other items. We spend about 28 million on transportation, give or take a little.
Okay.
27 to 28 million.
So you lumped it all into all contracted services?
That's where it has to be
Where it's
recorded,
at,
because
okay.
we contract for services.
And what about charter school amount, the total amount that we give to all, for all the charter schools?
Yes, so Ms. King added a chart on page, let me find it.
What page?
I'm looking for it, sorry. If you look at page 18 in your book, at the top of the page, it talks about the projected ADA of our charters within our district, and the estimated amount is 42.4 million of revenue that goes to those charters.
On page
18.
18.
At the top, do you see the chart? On top of the charter enrollment trend
Right.
is the 42.4 million is written in the.
Oh, there it is. Okay, I just didn't see it. Okay.
Okay.
I thought it was going to be on a line item. Okay. So $42.4 million of LCFF funding go directly to all the charter schools that we now have under our umbrella. Okay, thank you. Those are all my questions, Madam President.
Yeah, that's fine. All right, thank you. Any other board members? Any other comments? Okay.
Okay, board, thank you. So,
Abigail,
Yes.
just one other question.
Go
You know,
ahead.
Danny asked about professional development, and in the same vein, I think, you know, we'd probably want to know for each one of these line items, you know, what the, you know, other expenditure categories are that relate, because I'm sure we spend more than 3.7 on campus safety improvements and things that are probably part of a different facilities budget
So
and things like that, and, you know, let alone other elements in here. You know, we have like English learners, and, you know, we spend way more dollars than 1.1 on English learners. So those kinds of things, I think, is what maybe just outlining that where it is in the categories of a pie chart or something. I'm sure we have this, but, you know, just to showcase, this is not the only expenditures that we're making in these various categories. I think that's the real message, right? So.
Very true.
And Madam President, I think what's even more important, and I mean, it's critical that we see it, because if you show, for instance, that you list an increase here, but if it's decreasing somewhere else in the budget, then it's not really an increase, right? And then if you're increasing it somewhere else in the budget and you're increasing it here, then we should know that also. If you're going to talk about these items, it should be in perspective.
Yeah, let's maybe let Dr. Mitchell present his comments and see if that maybe helps answer some of the questions the board may have. And then we are always happy and stand ready to illustrate the budget in any fashion that's helpful to the board and the public.
thank you, Dr. Marsden. So, board, I want to start off by saying, having you look at the handout that we gave you. It's entitled LCAP Meeting Input 531. At the last board meeting, the board directed staff to provide another opportunity for community members to give some additional feedback. Couple prefaces on this feedback. I want to make sure the board understands that what you have here is the 531 meeting, and then the 614 meeting. This is the end of about a dozen or so meetings that happened both at the school site and at the central office that involved hundreds of parents giving feedback. And so I just want to make sure that the board understands this is not the only feedback that we've received on the LCAP. So if you turn to the last page, and sorry the pages aren't numbered, but if you turn to the last page, I wanted on the LCAP meeting. Yeah, turn to the last page. They're not. The pages aren't numbered. I apologize. So LCAP meeting input 614. Yeah. And so I just we did an activity with, first of all, we had a great representation. We had members from the District Advisory Committee, the DLAC, the District African American Advisory Committee, as well as the Special Ed Advisory Committee. So all of our officers were represented for all four of our primary governance and advisory committees. So we were really happy for the showing. And we did an activity that we call Keep, Fix, Stop, Start. And so we basically did not, we had a whole group meeting so that all the members were able to comment across all of the line items. So we're getting away from these kind of racial subgroup discussions and getting around, let's take care of all of our kids together. And so it was a really healthy conversation, was glad to be a part of the conversation. Just a couple things I want to highlight to you. So where you see start, these were areas that the feedback was to start something. And then you may see a stop. You may see a fix. So a fix is like, hey, this is a good program. We should tweak it in this way. And then keep, fix, stop, start. And then keep. So where they said, hey, this is a good idea, keep it. I want to turn your attention to some things that we've already built into the budget. If you're looking at the bottom of the page where the Latino line item, the first line item says keep budget intact. So that budget is intact. They had an allocation of 1.6 million last year. They'll have an allocation of 1.6 million going into 18-19. If you look at the last line item on that page, it says stop, don't take dollars for Avid. We've done that, and so there is some wiggle room within the Latino line item of about $400,000 or $500,000 because we're not taking out Avid out of the Latino line item. And so just wanted to show that to the board. If you turn over to the next page, you'll see there's a lot of conversation around special education, and Dr. Menares has gotten that information, and she's working through much of that through the Special Education Task Force, as well as just our ongoing work. And so we'll be sure to support the budget needs as emerge through that work. The African American pieces, start advertising and expand Sankofa. The African American leadership wanted to see a quarterly district dashboard as it relates to African American achievement. This is echoed by the board. The board has long championed a clear, parent-friendly, user-friendly dashboard so the board can monitor ongoing progress beyond just the CASP. So we're happy to do that. And so you'll see that input there, and that we've baked that into the budget. Much of it doesn't have a dollar amount attached to it. These are just services and opportunities for feedback and discussion that we'll just provide. And of course, staff is already paid, so those things don't cost us additional dollars. Secondly, I'd like you to take a look at the final LCAP proposed budget. And I just want to walk you through a couple things. I know we've beaten this horse. I don't think she has any life left, but I just wanted to show you some final tweaks that we've made. If you could look at the headings, I just want to start out across the top. 2017 LCAP program description, activities, and initiatives. These are just one-liners on describing the basic program. If you look at the next box over to the right, stakeholder input frequency. These are that frequency is related to the 531 meeting and the 614 meeting. If we went through and tabulated all of it, it'd be in the hundreds. And so we just, exactly, Dr. Flores, yes. And then you'll see 17-18 adopted budget. If there's a dash, that means that did not exist the year before. And then the 18-19 one-time proposed increase. As Ms. Christakis shared, we were initially told we'd be getting 16 mil. That amount looks closer to 8 mil. Of course, the one-time proposed expenditures exceed 8 million, and so we'll be making some budget decisions to try to get all these activities done within the budget. If you keep going over, you'll see 2017-18 projected remaining balance. Now, we're still paying bills. We'll probably be paying bills through most of the summer, and so those balances will be lower. But I just wanted to give the board a sense for the spending patterns across the line items. And what we're going to do is apply all of the carryover to the 18-19 budget. So then that will get some cost savings there as well. So I thought we did a pretty good job of spending down this year. I know the board was concerned in past years around the huge remaining balances. I think the board really allowed us to run at the beginning of this year and really start to do the work of the LCAP that we're giving to the community. And so we're really happy with such small, comparatively speaking, remaining balances across the line items. And then you'll see the projected budget allocation. It's the allocation plus the one-time funding request. And we're going to back out the remaining balances. If you turn to page 3 of this report, turn to page 3 of this report. At the bottom, board, if I could turn your attention to the budget summary down at the bottom, this is just the nuts and bolts. You'll see that when we add up all of the total ongoing as well as the one-time LCAP funds, it comes to 33 million. We minus out the carryover, which is 3 million, which leaves us an estimated cost of LCAP funds of 29 million. We've also broken out the cost of the ongoing to keep everything going that we have with staff and all that comes to 16 mil. And we have a proposed one-time increase of LCAP funds by 12 million. As Ms. Christakis shared, we have 8 million that we're expecting from the staff. So we'll have to do some shaving here and there, but we'll bring those proposals back to the board at a later date once all the budget settles and we pay all the bills through the summer, we'll have a better, and we get more information from the state, we'll have a better sense of the dollars. Ms. Christakis, you want to comment?
Yeah, and we'll also use the dollars, increased dollars to LCFF, because these are not LCFF, the
Yes.
one time. And so we'll apply those to the requests, and then the balance will use carryover.
If Dr. Flores, oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, Dr. Flores?
I just want to reiterate that because we haven't closed out, there may be more carryover than we expect.
Yep.
And also, the governor hasn't signed the bill, and there is additional money, so we don't know how that's all going to divvy out as well. So, we have 45 days once he approves the budget to then come back and, readjust the budget, given what we have.
Thank you, Dr.
And also the carryover may be more than what we actually see.
We'll have the carryover in September.
In September?
Yes.
Yeah, so we have, this is June, July, August, September, in 3 months. Well, I think we'll be in good shape.
Thank you, Dr. Flores.
And so, board, if I can finish up by
Ms.
having
Medina?
you go.
Mr. Tillman? Sorry.
Just on that subject, I think it's, and I don't know if I'm gonna, I just think it's important to be clear. I mean, you're talking about LCAP, but the LCAP is not the totality of the budget. So I think we make a mistake when we put so much emphasis on LCAP because it doesn't stand alone. Really, the discussion should be around this year compared to last year, and it's in the budget. How much more revenue did we receive for this upcoming year based on what we know from the governor's proposed budget that we think is going to go? So what's that number?
I definitely agree with Mr. Tillman that we should be looking at the overall budget because of LCFF funding. And I don't see a problem at all with the $4 million that we're still not covering here as it's viewed, because there's probably going to be more that we will have access to.
So LCFF is projected to go up approximately $28 million. It may be $3 million more based on this the information from the governor. What we do associate with LCAP are the dollars that are supplemental in concentration. And so it's still LCFF, but in the LCAP, we have to show how we're improving and increasing services. You don't necessarily need money to improve and increase services, but that's some of the requirements under LCAP.
Yeah, and I know we have additional costs also, and I even get concerned when you say local control funding formula. I just want to know how much additional money we got totally compared to last year's budget. And then when I'm not so much concerned about it's good to know which one of these LCAP items are one time and which ones are ongoing, but even more important, the revenue that's associated with it, how much of that revenue is ongoing revenue, and then how much of that revenue is one-time money. And that's the part that it means a whole lot. But I think, we have the budget in front of us, but I know we have additional amount of revenue coming in, but I also know we have additional costs. We have proposals. We settled with some of the bargaining units, and we have proposals in the mix for other ones, but I think the two biggest ones. So you have an idea of what your cost is. So maybe you can come back with us at a later date to give us an idea of what the actual increased costs are compared to the increased revenue, and give us a good feel for where we're at. And I really think it comes back to this. The thing that stands out to me is this thing with professional development. It only makes sense to see what the total amount of professional development is in the existing budget before we agree to spend, because we know where my line of questioning is going to go. How much did we budget for professional development last year? And of that amount of money, how much was actually spent? Because if we had $10 million budgeted last year for professional development and only $5 million was spent, it doesn't make sense to allocate an additional $5 million for professional development. So at some point we have to see that. I'll go along with it only because when you get the information to us, we can adjust at a later date. But we definitely have to see the information before we go along with this.
Thank you, Mr. Tillman. Ms. Rogers?
Yes, so my question, I'm trying to get clarification. between what Danny and Dr. Flores is saying. So when we go through our final budget here, the information that they're requesting of you, Ms. Christakis, is not in here because, and then secondly, my follow-up question is, the LCAP budget and all this breakdown information that we do have is what we've been struggling with for the past few months, what the community wanted to have. And so that's why, Mr. Tillman, we are back at, with so much documentation on that. So it's been several conversations and several requests. So to the board, I also want to remind us that if that is something that we need, then we need to make that request, because this big to-do that we have here came because we continue to have this engaging conversation with the community. They want to see the breakdown. Now the question is, how much further do we want to see this broken down? But my initial question is, this big gigantic thing that we go through, the questions that are being asked, is it in here?
It is in there.
Then why are we asking again to have it? I'm trying to get clarification as to what the question
So
was.
I want to apologize because I presented the budget at the last two meetings, and
Right.
so I should have brought back the presentation, so I won't do that again.
Okay.
But in the presentation, we did show our increased LCFF, and Mr. Tillman has a good point. LCFF is the largest portion of our budget, our revenues, but it's not the only revenues we receive. The 16 million was outside of LCFF. That is one-time mandates that the governor's providing to school districts to pay back years and years of money they owe school districts. And that 16 million was reduced to 8 million. We're at full funding. In some of the presentations that I've shown the board and the community is the ongoing costs outpace our projected revenues. When you
That's
look
what
at
I
PERS and
remember.
STIRS,
Right.
health and welfare, and those other costs are restricted maintenance increase. And so I will make sure when we do the 45-day budget that I bring back that information to you so that we have it publicly.
Because that is helpful, and I know we had seen it, and we talked about it at that meeting, then we came to the next meeting. The LCAP budget we broke it down because it was important for us to see where the dollars were going.
Yeah.
Now we're again talking about the two things together and making the request, and then we have this large budget,
It's-
and
and
I'm trying to say, okay, where
where
should
is it?
we reflect our attention to so that we know we have this documentation, and so those that are watching and those that are listening
That's
know
right.
that we are being transparent and have the information. So again, board, it's asking again, I mean, I do like this budget, but it is cumbersome, but, because we can even go even further. What is it being spent on? Who is it being spent? Who is the person that's getting it? And so I think once we get to that, it'll be clear for us as well as for the
And Ms.
community.
Christakis, your presentation that you're talking about next time would also encompass the larger picture amounts that Mr. Gallo and Mr. Tillman are
We can
discussing as well. Is
drill
that correct?
down as far as you want into different categories. There are budgets across the district with different departments that provide professional development in an array of different ways to their staff. I think what Dr. Mitchell is talking about is that staff development to help our teachers, and so infusing those dollars for the teachers. But we can bring it however you like it, in as much detail as you would like. And so I will do that at the next one, so we'll bring you an update on the budget. But Mr. Tillman makes a good point. We're at full funding. Our costs continue to go up, and that's why it's important that we're not spending these dollars on ongoing items. And Dr. Mitchell was very clear when he presented to the community. These are one time because our costs continue to go up. And as it is, we will have to look at how we contain costs to maintain the programs that we currently have. As we go through the projection period, we'll have to make some adjustments. And so I think that's the important point.
And so my last question then too, when you mentioned the 8 million versus the 16 million, and I think Dr. Mitchell was mentioning that, so you're gonna go back through and start.
So there's 16 million approximately that's being requested.
Right.
There's projected to be 8 million in these past mandates, about 3 to 3.5 million more we're gonna get in LCFF. So there's 11.5 million. And we expect the carryover can take us to the difference
So
of the
close
six.
to the
Yes.
back to the 16
So we
million.
feel like we can meet the needs. Now, when we assign the carryover for these requests that were brought through this LCAP engagement, it will not be available in September for other items. It will be used for this.
Okay,
Okay, and then I know Dr. Flores has a question, and after Dr. Flores, Mr. Tillman, you also had a comment. And if we can, I know it might be
I
difficult.
haven't finished the presentation either, board, so just.
Oh, so you haven't,
Yeah.
okay, so.
Mine will be real quick. I just wanted to just piggyback again on what Mr. Tillman said. The supplemental and concentration funds, Ms. Rogers is on board, is only 134 million. And out of that, we're taking LCAP because we decided that we were going to fund other categorical programs.
Right.
So
I just wanna see it all
LCFF is
together.
the biggest, the bigger, that's the whole budget. We can still, as a board, take from LCFF to support, LCAP items and so forth. And in terms of professional development, it would be really good to see where all the professional development is. And I think we do a lot in different areas. Like we have Title II, that's federal funding. Where's the state funding? Where's the federal funding? And where have we allocated all the other professional development? And Mr. Tillman has a good point. How much did we spend of that money last year, and how much is left over in terms of carryover? And what is the carry? I always ask this question. What is going to be the carryover of every other category that we have? So, and what will be the total?
So when we close the books and we present the unaudited actuals to you in September, we can give you by object code
Right.
what was budgeted and what was carried over by object code.
Correct.
So we'll provide that to you in
Thank you.
September.
Okay, Mr. Tillman?
Yeah, and I think just for transparency, I think it's just on page 41, because Ms. Rogers, said is the information, and the information is in here. And on page 41, for me, what's important is to see that for the estimated actuals for 2017, 2018, it was $532 million. And the difference between 2017, 2018, and 2018 and 2019 is $570 million. So I know that there's going to be increased costs, step and column and stuff like that that's going to eat up some of that money. But I'm sure that there's been increases in other funds. Well, my point is this: if you have a budget for 2017, 2018, and you're at $532 million, and then you got up to 570. Even if you go to the combined, where they have the projection at 685 compared to 662, even with that, the increase is more than what we're showing the increase for LCAP. So there's a lot of things that Ms. Christakis has said is going to that in proposed budget is going to increase to use some of that revenue. So my only concern is if in there they already increased, for example, if they've increased professional development and the regular funds throughout the budget, then that's just something we should know so that we're not. I don't want to allocate money on and do it with the public's health in terms of LCAP and then realize there's not really a need for the additional money in LCAP. And for me to make me feel comfortable is to see how the money was spent for LCAP in the previous fiscal year or fiscal years to give me a good idea that, yeah, we're not having huge carryovers in professional development, and maybe we do need more money in that area.
All right, and we want to be mindful that Dr. Mitchell still has the rest of the presentation, so if we can hold the rest of the questions until the end of his presentation.
Thank you, Ms. Medina. So, board, if I can have you turn back to page 1 of the budget. And one of the things to answer some of Mr. Tillman's questions and just reinforce, we put the remaining balances from each LCAP line item on there. We had a pretty good spending pattern. Also, I want to remind the board that I created the professional learning line item by removing the burden from each line item and putting it and consolidating it. So it's a wash. I could have took the $5 million and put it back in their line item. So I want to make sure the board knows that all I've done was every line item has some form of professional development for staff, and I've just consolidated it to professional learning. But would be happy to share the actuals in September when we do the unaudited actuals with the board. And so one of the things that I want to just turn the board's attention to are some of the feedback. If you look at, I want to just go through each of the blue items, which came from the feedback on your, so I'm on page 1 of the budget. I'm looking at line 25.
Which document are you on, Dr. Mitchell?
I'm on the large budget, page 1. Yes, thank you. Just wanted to reassure the board of how we've incorporated the feedback. So if you look at line 25, under the African American Student Achievement, there were 10 stakeholder inputs there. And so you'll see that, as an example, we estimated it to be $100,000 to handle this PD request. And you'll see it's estimated $100,000 included in the PD line item. Otherwise, I would reduce the $5 million and put the $100,000 out of the African American line item. If you go down to line 33, there's a request to increase summer activities. We have that as a placeholder, and once we get to the unaudited actuals in September, we'll be able to make some decisions about dollars that we can increase summer learning activities through CAPS. If you look at line 36, training all bilingual classified staff in language interpretation and translation, we estimate that a cost of $100,000, and again, I've included that in the professional development line item. If you go down to line 57, training for teachers and educational assistants who work in dual language programs, making sure that they're proficient in English and Spanish, we estimate a $100,000 cost. I've included that in the professional development line item. Looking at line 58, our DLAC parents we saw some great success with the EL counselor at Indian Springs. The request initially was to do 5 more. If you look at the June 14th meeting, you'll see that the English learners said a counselor at every high school, so that would take us up to 10. What we've done here in the LCAP is we costed out 5. That'll be $600,000. But you see that we did not put it into the budget. Staff is recommending that we hold on that to reduce our ongoing costs out of one-time dollars. It's just not good business to increase our ongoing costs. We'll be in a position of being laying off. So what we want to do is take the year to continue at Indian Springs funding that EL counselor, but then also looking at professional development for our counselors to replicate some of the great services that our EL counselor has experienced at Indian Springs. Looking at page 2 in the budget, looking at line 88, to create a Latino advisory committee. We think that's a great idea.
89, I believe it's 89.
Oh, sorry, thank you, 89. We had 10 requests for that. You see that's no cost to create an advisory committee. We think it's a great idea. And so that's there. Line 90, Latino task force. We spent about $50,000 on the African American task force. We believe we would replicate, we'll start off with replicating the same amount. That's included in because as I told you, in the Latino line item, because we removed the AVID $500,000, there's some wiggle room in there, so you'll see that the cost is embedded into, we can afford the cost out of the 1.6. If you look at line 99, this came from our superintendent student advisory recommendation to put on a community pride to build inner high school relationships, and so we've costed that out at $50,000 alongside the kids. Want to green light that for our kids. You see there's a variety of other, line 100, 101, 102, 103. We haven't costed that out, but we're waiting on the Special Education Task Force to complete its work. We'll then create a budget to support the recommendations that come out of the task force, and then we'll by September we'll have a better idea of our budget picture to be able to budget these items in. But we wanted to include it in the LCAP proposal, so the board knows that we've received this feedback from the staff. From our staff and parents and students and so on, and it's included in the budget. We're waiting to see what our budget ends up looking like to be able to fund these pieces, but we are fully intentioned on funding these pieces, as well as for 1920, taking a hard look at funding additional EL counselors as we go through a year of professional development, continuing the pilot at Indian Springs. I want to take you down to line 114. Again, that comes from our Superintendent Student Advisory Committee. Our peer mentorship costed it out at $27,600, including that. 115, campus involvement, again, came from the Superintendent Student Advisory recommendation. Costed that out at $73,000. We've included that in there. Page 3. line 136. We've increased a elementary band teacher this year, and that reduced the number of schools that each of our band teachers were responsible for. The request came from the community to increase more. Our staff recommendation is to hold on that. That would increase our ongoing costs, and we're really being shy as it relates to increasing our ongoing costs out of one-time dollars. And so that's there as a placeholder. If the money should surface, we think it's a good idea. The board has invested heavily in VAPA support. So we think that reducing the number of schools that each of our elementary music teachers have is a good idea, but we want to be cautious about increasing our ongoing costs. And now lastly, if you look down at 141, I think the kids came up with a great idea. This again came out of Superintendent Student Advisory Committee, where they want to bring in law students to advise the youth court and participate in the youth court. I think it's a great idea. It also lends itself really well to a career pathway and mentoring. We'd love to have law students come and mentor our kids. I think that's a great idea. So we're supporting that, and we costing that out at 33. And so with that, board, we're very proud of this LCAP budget. We think it has the fingerprint of our community. The board has really pushed us, staff, to engage the community, and we have in a really robust way, and we're proud of the board. I'm proud of the board's work and board's leadership in prioritizing these dollars, and we think that we got a good sense of a representative sense of the needs of our community. So thank you.
All right, thank you, Dr. Mitchell. I want to give opportunity for the board members who haven't spoken yet, if they have any questions. Dr. Hill?
Thank you. I just want to say thanks for the presentation. And I just don't want us to lose the insight that you are the experts and we expect you to share with us, but also appreciate all the input you get from everyone. But the last thing we want to do is have to lay off anybody, teachers or administrators or classified employees. So as long as we keep that in mind, and we need to spend what we need to spend for our students, because we don't want to certainly shortchange them in their education. But I just want to say I appreciate the report you gave, and as I look at it, I think it's good that we can hold you responsible, that you're going to use these funds wisely, and that we won't be cornered in one of the grocery stores of what's going on. So thank you. Thank you for what you're doing.
All right, Dr. Flores?
I also want to thank you, Dr. Mitchell, for all your hard work. And I know it was difficult, but I think, we do want parental input, community input, and we're establishing that. So I'm really thankful for that, and listening to our parental voices. I just want to clarify in terms of the counselors. So is it my understanding that we'll have staff development and train at least one counselor per school for this coming year, in terms of the pilot that we conducted here at Indian Springs?
Yes, actually, we're going to infuse the training for all of our high school counselors and
you
middle
are?
school
Okay.
counselors.
Okay,
And
for
so
all.
that'll be under
Okay.
the purview of Dr. Perez, and so we want to make sure that, because the counselor, first of all, we have one of the lowest student to counselor ratio in the state, and we believe that our counselors are talented enough to infuse the strategies that the EL counselor use, and so we want to expose the training to all of them, and see what kind of bumps we get. But we also feel, I like your recommendation, Dr. Flores, around looking at where our LTELs are concentrated at, and we may start there with an EL counselor where we have a higher number of LTELs. So I think it's a great suggestion. We also appreciate the recommendation from the community, or acknowledging the success that the EL counselor had. We agree with them. It's just a matter of dollars and cents at this point.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And
Last week, I was expert witness before the Education Senate Committee, the only expert witness regarding middle school and high school ELs. And so it passed the Assembly and it passed the Education Committee. And so we are looking at also, we're ahead of the game, I have to say, because we will be addressing those issues in terms of providing, counseling and also access to core curriculum, and in terms of what our pilot has been here at Indian Springs. And I use that as an example. So I think that, we're ahead of the game, and I'm really proud of us in terms of doing that.
All right, thank you, Dr. Flores. Scott Wyatt, Dr. Wyatt, do you have any comments?
Just a few, Madam President, and again, Dr. Mitchell and Ms. Christakis, thank you for the presentation and a tremendous amount of information as well. I really appreciate the huge charts, especially as my eyesight continues to get worse. I'm just looking at our encroachment of our special programs, specifically special education, and it seems like it hasn't changed too much. We had a big jump from 2017. No, well, actually, I take that back. We are seeing a big jump from 2017-18 to 2018-19, which is on page 23 of our budget report. And we know that special ed services are having encroachments on general funds throughout the state, and I'm wondering, that's a pretty significant jump. And do we have a little bit of an explanation there on why? That's my first question. And then the second piece is, when I look at the line item 102 on our LCAP budget for the $100,000 for special ed training for staff, I know that's an estimate, and that seems like a popular figure. We throw out $100,000. I'm just wondering, would that be appropriate and enough based on what we find out with our special education task force review? Because I know there are some concerns out there in the community. I'm one that hears often about our special ed services. So, I want them to know that there is a large contribution from our general fund, the encroachment of like almost $9 million. But maybe we could give them a little bit of an explanation why such a huge jump right there,
Sure.
about $8.5 million.
Dr. Wyatt, I know Dr. Moneris is anxious to answer some of your questions there.
Yes, absolutely. So the large increase that you see for this upcoming school year is exactly attributed to an increase in our actual number of students that we will be serving. So we are increasing the actual number of classrooms, our speech language pathologists. We are actively recruiting to be able to hire our own OT, our own occupational therapists, rather than contracting out, which we believe will help with any potential IEEs that may be requested, as well as, and I forget what they're called, but the technology specialist person, their AET, yes, we are also working on that, because we know in assistive technology is definitely something that we want to provide for our students. So it's all in staffing, and it's in staffing to meet our increasing number of students that we have that are on active IEPs, as well as bringing in some specialized staff to help meet those needs. In terms of the actual professional development, Dr. Mitchell and I will work closely once we get the recommendations from our task force. We anticipate that we will want to continue to work with West Ed in helping our teams to move forward in this work. So we anticipate some support in that area, as well as really training up our special ed staff so they feel and have the efficacy to do what they need to do for our students. So it's not just a year's worth of work. We want to see this ongoing. And what we do see in the recommendations thus far, and in some survey work that we got from actually our special ed teams, is they're looking for ongoing support and training. So they're hungry for it. They want to be able to calibrate with their peers, collaborate, and really provide the best service during an IEP team meeting, but also during their time when they're individualized supports for their students.
All right, thank you, Dr. Morales.
Okay, Dr. Menares, thank you very much. And just two more questions based on your responses. The increase in the number of students we have for special ed, maybe a percentage number or a raw figure on that, about how much have we increased over the last year?
So I almost feel like every time I'm asking Mr. Dominguez where our numbers are at, they're increasing. So I would say in the last school year, we've had at least 1,000 students. Is that right, Mr. Dominguez, that we've increased? And it's a combination of students, our young students coming in, who are identified as well as our existing. But thank you, Mr. Dominguez.
Good evening, Cabinet and Board. We have increased an average of 200 special education students per year over the last 5 years. That number is based on our December counts. We did not have the December count for this year. So it looks like it's going to be a little higher than the average, but until I get that consistent marker in December, I'll be able to give you the net increase.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Dominguez. And I think that's good for our public to know, first of all, that the students are moving into our district and that we're not over-identifying students on initials. And then I heard you talk about also conducting IEEs. So are you saying that when we have cases that come up and our assessments are challenged, will we be performing our own IEEs separate from our initial assessments that maybe we are doing, or assessments that we receive outside of the district and then maybe are questioned by our parents and advocates?
When the district does a report, the parents have the right to request an independent educational evaluation. The district can either defend the report that we give through due process or give them an IEE.
And when you say give them, we're going to fund outside of our district?
We fund, using district funds, an independent educational evaluation.
All right. Well, that seems to answer most of my questions. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Dominguez.
Thank you. And I believe that's it. No, yes, Mrs.
Dr.
Jane
Wyatt,
Kostakis.
I might not have heard you correctly, but on page 23, it shows our contribution to special ed is projected at 49 million for next year. And I heard you say 9, but I wasn't sure if I heard you correctly.
Ms. Kostakis, I meant like from right now what our estimated is from 40,687,000
Yes, to
to 49 million.
Correct.
So that's going to be
Correct.
the bump we're looking
That's
at,
correct.
which is significant. It really is. That's why I was wondering why such a
Includes
huge jump.
It includes the salary increases as well.
Is
That's-
that more maybe designated services, or that the 4% that we're looking at, or?
So that's that, the 4%, as well as additional positions and the other things that Dr. Menard has referred to.
Ms. Christakis, transportation is also included in that amount, isn't it?
I'll have to get back to you. It changed under LCFF, and so I don't think it is. But I can get back to you on the amount we spend on special ed transportation. It's part of that 28 million. Okay.
Thank you again.
All right. And Dr. Flores, if you can really quick.
Just a clarification, our charter schools, if they can't meet the needs of the special ed students, we provide that service, correct?
So we provide, we're the SELPA, and we provide to some of our charter schools, Mr. Dominguez would know, not all of them. Is
Yeah,
that
so
Doc, we have an answer for you here.
as part of the charter school application, they need to identify what SELPA they're able
We're
to
the
choose.
SELPA,
Yeah.
so we
So
do-
generally,
we
generally they choose us, but some choose Desert
Okay,
Mountain.
so we're
others.
obligated, so is that part of the cost as well?
Yes,
The 49 million? Okay. That's probably why it also increased. Dr.
absolutely.
Wyatt.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much. I believe that's it for this, and we're on time, somewhat on time. Any other questions? If not, we're going to go ahead and move forward. I know Dr. Marsden has a public comment.
Yeah, there's one public comment board on this topic, 4.1. The board welcomes Mr. Trayvon Martin. Good evening.
Good evening, board. As Dr. Marsden said, my name is Trayvon Martin. I'm the new Public Affairs and Community Engagement Representative for the California School Boards Association. And so I am here today to kind of just congratulate you guys on your LCAP process. I attended a couple district meetings last week where districts approved their LCAP. And I have to say they didn't have as nearly as much community engagement as San Bernardino has. So hats off to Dr. Mitchell and the categorical team, as well as to caution the board when improving ongoing expenditures out of one-time dollars. So as Mr. Tillman said, although LCFF is not the entire budget, tonight the presentation was on one-time money. So when you look at one-time money, you really want to caution yourself on spending ongoing cost out of one-time money. And so I do agree with the district's recommendation to kind of put some of those one-time or ongoing costs on hold until they could bring back the unaudited actuals in September. So also, if you guys got an email from CSBA this week or last week, there was an article on the silent recession, why California school districts are underwater despite increasing funding. So please take a look at that as well when you, as Ms. Christakos said, the STIRS and PERS, the step and column, it's generally on average, the increase to educate a special ed student is 30 to 40% in additional cost to districts. So when you look at the increased cost for per pupil funding for LCFF, and you take into consideration step and column, STIRS and PERS, it really puts a burden on districts. So just to keep that in mind as you guys are approving the budget. And again, congratulations on having so many community members and families weigh in on your LCAP process.
Thank you. We have a comment by Danny. Mr. Tillman?
Mr. Martin, I just want to tell you sound just like a CSBA person. You must have went to the CSBA training. You only left out one thing. You're supposed to remind board members that we're only here to set policy.
And Mr. Martin, congratulations on your appointment to this position. Well done.
Thank you so much. And Mr. Tillman, I remember having that conversation when you found out I got the job, so I am taking that into consideration. You guys have a good evening.
That's the only why you didn't say it, huh?
Thank you so much.
Mr. Martin. And the board now welcome, we're going into our regular public comments.
Yeah, 5.0 public comments. This is a time during the agenda when Board of Education is prepared to receive comments from the members of the public on any matter within its subject matter jurisdiction. When recognized, step to the podium, give your name, and limit your comments to 5 minutes or less. The limit for public comments by 6 or more individuals on any one topic is 30 minutes. Dr. Martin?
Yeah, the board welcomes Mr. Rich Embriani. Good evening, Mr. Embriani.
Going once.
My name is Rich Embriani. I'm the athletic director at Cajon High School. And I apologize for the shorts. It was an outside work day at school. Yes, it is. We had a very successful year in football, and we wanted to share this time and the accolades that we got with our board and our staff. And we made posters, pictures with our rings that the kids all got, and it has all our staff and our board members' names on it, because we are very thankful to our staff and our board members for all the great things they're doing for all the schools. I'm here to speak for Cajon, but I will speak for everybody else, and the success we're all having. And it makes a huge difference. I just completed my 30th year at Cajon, and the things that we're doing now were never happening before. So this is just a small thank you to all the school board and the staff for all their help. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, Mr. Embriani, thank you for your leadership and work in this district for a long time. You've made a lot of kids successful. It's appreciated, and thanks for taking the time to say thank you.
Mr. Embriani, we want you to know when we were at the Cajon graduation, Dr. Wyatt and I were very impressed as they were shaking our hands and squeezing our hands with those big rings. They're nice, very nice.
Look like a Super Bowl.
Coach Embriani, how many of these have we won? The CIF. San Gregorio won 2 years ago. Indian Springs won the regional. So Cajon won the CIF what regional? And Southern California, all of Southern California? Oh my goodness, that's great. And just so the public knows, it's because this board committed 1.5 million on an annual basis to our sports program.
And we greatly appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Coach Embriani, real quick, I just wanted you to know that Ms. Bardier over there in the communications department, I know the Booster Club was waiting on a banner, and I just wanted to find out. I've been trying to get a hold of Ms. Daniels, Virginia, and see if that banner's been received, because if not, then I think we still have one more left, and I've been holding it for I take care of it, but if not, let me know so she can get it. So thank you.
All right, thank you. And I also
Thank you.
I also want to mention to the audience that it has our last name in one of the designs here. So just wanted to mention that it does have our last name there.
Where at? Where at?
It's right there on the picture frame. Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Board now welcomes Florencio Salazar. Good evening and welcome.
Buenas tardes a todos.
Buenas tardes.
Disculpen, aquí me va a introducir el señor, se lo agradezco. Solo vengo a hacer una petición ante ustedes.
I come to make a request before you
como representantes de distrito escolar de esta comunidad.
as you are district representatives of this community.
La petición que traemos es sobre el cambio de horario.
The petition that we have before you is in regards to the time change.
Que es un cambio que muchos papás estamos un poco deprimidos, ¿verdad?
It's a time change that many of us parents are a little depressed about.
Por la situación en que el horario nos es un poco complicado.
Because the new time change is a little complicated for us.
Por motivo de que muchos tenemos niños enfermos.
Because many of us have children that are ill.
Papás que pues no tenemos el tiempo suficiente para llevar los niños muy temprano.
Or parents that don't have enough time to take the children too early.
Otra de las situaciones es en que
Another situation
muchos
is
papás tenemos niños en la escuela primaria y otros en la high school.
and many of us parents have children in elementary and others in high school.
Si puede dar un momento de nomás la clarificación. Está hablando sobre, no estábamos, básicamente está hablando de la prepa o qué es lo que está hablando, si puede ser. And I just wanted to make sure I clarified with him what he was referring to, the time change.
De la escuela de la Riley.
¿De Bradley?
Elementary.
Riley Elementary School.
Y están comenzando.
So there may be some confusion. There's been a discussion about early and late start times of schools. And the board has been exploring this topic, but there has been no action taken.
Sí.
And no action will be taken by the board without having additional conversation.
And there's not any possibility it'll change for this school year.
No.
There's no way it would change for this school year.
Sí, estoy enterado de que no es para ese año.
I am aware that it's not for this year.
Nosotros hemos levantado firmas para ver si ustedes nos pueden tomar en cuenta, ¿verdad? Esta petición que pedimos para si acaso
We just
se
want you
llega
to
a
take this
término.
into account so that if it does happen, you know about it.
Okay.
How we feel.
Oh,
Thank
okay.
you.
Por si
Muchas
se llega a un
gracias.
término más adelante, ¿verdad? Una
Just
decisión
so
que
in the
ustedes
future, if
tengan.
there's a decision to make, you know how we feel already.
Muchas gracias.
Entonces yo quería entregarle
Thank you.
estas firmas a la
Gracias,
mesa
señor.
directiva para
I
ver
would
si
like
ellos
to
nos toman en cuenta.
turn in these signed forms
Yeah, and
to
we can
the
turn this into
president.
Madam
Dr.
President?
Volkman.
Madam President, can I ask you a question?
Yes, Mr. Tillman.
So,
Ahorita yo lo agarro, I'll
he
just-
said are you with the organization or just the parents at Bradley?
¿Viene con una organización o viene
Riley
con-
Elementary.
She's just parent representative. Representing the parents, he's also a parent, but representing the parents.
Just at Riley?
At Riley, just at Riley.
At Riley?
Mhm.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you very much, sir.
Gracias.
Muchas gracias, señor.
Gracias, señores,
gracias.
y buenas noches.
Buenas noches. Those are all the public comments, Board, for this time on the agenda. We do have a couple comments when we get to a topic later in the agenda on item 10.2, and we'll take those comments at that time. Otherwise, this concludes our public comment section of the meeting, Board.
All right, thank you so much.
Oh, pardon me, we do have an additional comment. Ms. Negretti, welcome.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I wanted to check to see under Measure N, which was brought by Del Marson in 2012, it was put up for the voters to agree or disagree, and of course it passed. It came in so late into the ballots that there was no time for opposition. Now, at the time when he put in this measure, it was made to believe to the public that this was for safety and asbestos. Here's what I want to bring up to your attention, and I would hope that you can look into this. Cajon High School, Building A, D, Library, and E, except for the theater, had asbestos. San Bernardino High School, Buildings B, Library, Auditorium, ceilings, and walls. San Gregorio High School, Buildings A, B, C, E, and cafeteria. Arrowview Middle School, Building A. Curtis Middle School, Buildings A, D, and P locker rooms. Serrano Middle School, Buildings A, B, C, E, F, and M. Shannon Hills, Buildings E, F, and M. Arrowhead Elementary, Building B above the children room and electrical room. Lincoln Elementary, main building. Thompson Elementary, A, B, C, and E. Given that he put this measure for the voters, and it was supposed to be for safety and asbestos, has the asbestos part been taken care of? Because we do know that this is being collected. If you could please investigate and put this in the agenda, bring it back to the members, of the community so we know whether or not this has been taken care of, because from 2012 till now, there's been plenty of time to act on this. At the last school board meeting, I brought to your attention something regarding the 410s. And I asked if you could look at this. I know it was voted on and it was approved, but there is a case law regarding Augustus versus ABM Security. If you could look into this one, because part of that states that when someone's carrying, whether it's the walkie-talkie, some sort of device, any staff member that is required to be on duty is supposed to receive that extra pay. I know that there's cases where something happens and it's brought up to their attention later on, and employees are owed money. Either that or it becomes a lawsuit. We can deal with half-truths or we can deal with all the truths, but half-truths lead to lawsuits.
Thank you, Mr. Grady. Board, those are all our public comments during this portion of the agenda.
Okay, great. Thank you. We're going to go ahead and move to 6.0, reports and comments. 6.1, report by San Bernardino Teachers Association.
We do have a representative tonight, and she's making her way.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So I'm going to get this right this time. President Medina, Vice President Rogers, Superintendent Marston, board members, and cabinet. I am Barbara Pasashek, Vice President of the San Bernardino Teachers Association. For tonight's report, I will be speaking on action item 10.2, denial of petition for Transforming Lives Charter Academy. SBTA supports the recommendation for denial and urges your support to approve as presented. This is the third time this charter petition has been submitted to the district. The first time it was denied, the second time the petitioner withdrew, and the third time the recommendation is again for denial. It is apparently clear that the petitioner has not taken the time to improve on previous petitions in order to meet basic legal requirements that would provide a sound educational program. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Barbara. 6.2, report by the California School Employees Association. Okay. We're going to go ahead and go to 6.3, report by Communication Workers of America. We are on vacation too, so I can imagine they're not here. Okay. 6.4, report by San Bernardino School Police Officers Association. Nope. Okay. 6.5, comments by board members. Oh, Dr. Flores?
I just want to thank the cabinet for all the board correspondence and all your work and following up for our requests. I know it takes away time. And Chief Paulino, thank you for also including the citations and all the specificity for that. I think that's really important that we keep track. And Ms. Ontiveros, thank you for following up for my request. And I also want to thank, Ms. King left already, but Ms. Christakos and the team, and I saw Terry Komnick earlier. Thank you so much for providing, and Dr. Mitchell for providing the budget. It took a lot of work, and you really listened to us, so I appreciate it very, very much. So thank you very much.
All right. Dr. Hill, I saw that you raised your hand. And then we'll go, after Dr. Hill, we'll go with Dr. White.
Thank you. I'm going to ditto what Dr. Flores said, but in addition to that, had an opportunity to attend the graduation, the San Bernardino Police PAL program, did a youth leadership academy, 4 days, of which one of those days students had a chance to go to the Museum of Tolerance. There were 35 students there from, I think most of them were from Cajon and San Gregorio High School, and the students gave testimony. It was a very diverse group of students, and I'd like to, Dr. Morris, to give you this list, and hopefully we can invite them here to congratulate them for doing a good job. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And Dr. White?
Thank you, Madam President. Just brief comments from our last board meeting. I said we'd talk about this again, and we had quite a run with high school graduations, and let me tell you, that was, for me, a first, Thursday, Friday, and a Saturday, and I call it the trifecta on Saturday, where we get to see 3 fantastic graduations. And all I could say is that the conduct of everyone involved, our staff, our students, the families, was absolutely amazing, and truly a testament to the greatness in our community and how great San Bernardino really can be, and being San Bernardino strong. And we've heard that being echoed time and time again when students are talking or staff are talking, and what a treat and what a privilege for me to be a part of that. It really is an honor just to see success at that level that very few folks get to see. And so as a board member, just thank you to our community for the faith you have in us to lead the district and work with the district, and to have such a wonderful opportunity to see the fruits of everyone's labor in this district, in this community, and again, just how great our city can be. And I truly believe our district leads the way in the transformation of this city. So to our staff and to our students and to our families out there, absolutely amazing job, and congratulations again to the many classes of 2018.
All right, thank you. I want to go down the line with Ms. Rogers.
Thank you. Just 2 quick questions, or 2 quick statements rather. The first one is I am going to go ahead and give Indian Springs a formal apology again before my fellow board members remind me of my mascot.
incident during the graduation ceremonies. We had so many graduations going on, and on the Saturday that we had back-to-back 3 in a row, I assumed that the Cowboys were on my mind. I did not call them Coyotes, I called them Cowboys, but I did correct it. So I just wanted to formally say I apologize while we're here, and we'll get that corrected. And then lastly, I want to say to the fellow board members that maybe we can consider a trial run from July to August on doing our closed session first and just reverse it, but we're doing real well tonight, but maybe we can consider looking at that just for us in the summer. Thank you.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you. Mr. Gallo? Danny Tillman? Mr. Tillman? Okay, you're good. I also wanted to congratulate all the graduates. I went to Sierra High School as well as San Gregorio High School. Amazing to see the amount of work that we have been doing in our district and the amount of high school graduates in record numbers, as Dr. Morrison had mentioned previously, and there was an article that came out. I do want to mention there was a comment on social media with regards to the high school graduation rates, and I think it was more in how the state will provide different numbers. We have different numbers in the amount of students graduating, and so if we can maybe just receive a brief update on that, just to see what is considered a graduate versus I guess in what the state considers, and if that's a cohort or so forth. I don't know if I'm yes, and that would help us understand what is considered to be a high school graduate. And then, I mean, honestly, I think that we're doing amazing things for our school district and for our students, and I want to keep up the good work. I also want to recognize there's 3 individuals here from the West Side Action Group, and thank you for joining us today. Okay, so then we're going to go ahead and move along to 6.6, comments by superintendent and staff members.
Thank you, Madam President. And just again, I want to again echo the congratulations to Trayvon Martin on being selected as CSBA's pacer for the Inland Empire Division. Congratulations, Trayvon. Great to have another San Bernardino City leader representing at the state level. That's appropriate. Also want to recognize some of our students. Congratulations to Cajon High School graduate Jeremiah Martin, who was honored by the Press Enterprise and High School Game Time as the overall male athlete of the year for large schools. So congratulations to him. Congratulations to the 14 Cajon High School students who participated in the San Bernardino County Workforce Development Board's Generation Go Pathways Initiative. As you know, they have that with us in the district. Received 120 hours of clinical practice at Arrowhead Regional Medical Center. Mind you, these were paid internship experiences for students. They now can take a test to gain medical assistant certificates that make them eligible for entry-level work in healthcare. So that's a big step forward for our young people coming out of high school with job readiness at that level. And congratulations to the over 2,945 graduating seniors of class of 2018. And I was at most of those graduations. And when you hear from because I asked each of the principals a question, they know the exact names of all 4 or 5 kids, in some cases, that didn't walk, and they can tell you what you're participating in the summer graduation, what you're going to adult school, what's happening next for each student, and that just gives a good sense of the sophistication of our attention to students graduating from high school, because we know in this community, not graduating from high school can be catastrophic. And so I'm proud of our staff as they're continuing to graduate students and to continue to raise the bar of rigor for them. Want to compliment the California Emerging Technology Fund on behalf of this body. I would like to extend our appreciation to our partners with the California Emerging Technology Fund School to Home program for donating again $25,000 to support the one-to-one middle school implementation initiative at Arrowview, Curtis, Del Vallejo, Golden Valley, and Serrano Middle Schools. Thank you again to our partners for your continued support of the San Bernardino City Unified School District. And Board, I wanted to update you. We just concluded today our summer annual management conference facilitated by Dr. Lindsay Gunn, who you know has led our strategic planning efforts for about the last 6 or 7 years, where we took a deep look this year at a strategic abandonment process. We actually walked the team through a day and a half of how do we strategically abandon things that maybe have lost their usefulness, from programs to policies to practices, and had some great initial conversations. And they too will have these conversations ongoing with their staffs, and I wanted to mention that to you. And then over the next 3 days, we'll hold our annual Site Leaders Institute to work collaboratively with our school site leaders to conduct a review of the 2017-18 school year and plan strategically for the year ahead. So if you can and you're available, we'd love to have you join us at the Professional Development Center to come by and say a few words. They always appreciate you stopping by if you can. Yes. The next 3 days will be our annual Site Leaders Institute. So all of our site leaders will be present at the Professional Development Center, and we'll be planning a review of last year and planning ahead to plan strategically for 18-19. That's where we will actually go through a renewal of our community engagement plan, our vision, our mission, our beliefs, and set the course ahead for the year in terms of expectations and our work together. A good time to be there would be when we first start in the morning, around 8 o'clock, I believe. So there'll be a breakfast earlier if you want to come at 7:30. We'd love to have you. And those are all my comments. The only other thing I did want to mention, Board, is there is, and I'm planning on attending, there's a 2018 Leadership Institute with CSBA. And, you know, I don't go to a lot of these things, but I found the people presenting are quite profound. So folks from Google, the nonprofit code.org. I know we've talked some about getting coding into our schools, and we're doing some pilots of that. Another lady, a founder and CEO of Black Girls Code. Another lady, founder and executive director of Latina Girls Code, et cetera. And so if any of you are interested in joining me, there will also be a special session on school safety. I'll pass this back and forth, but I do plan on attending. It's a 2-day event, yes. So let me pass this up and down the aisle here, and you can let us know if you'd like to attend also.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Marsden. Okay, we're going to go ahead and go to 7.0, consent calendar. Are there any items to be pulled? Or do we call for the vote first? Do we call for the vote first, or?
You can ask for items.
Okay, so which items do you want to be pulled? Dr. Flores? No.
Just for clarification, 7.2, 7.6, 7.8, 7.12, 7.32, 7.35, 7.59, and 7.77.
Okay. Any other board members want to pull any items?
Yes.
Yes.
So I have 7.49,
7.49.
7.65, 7.64, and 7.66.
So I have 7.49, 7.65, 7.64, 7.66. For you, Mr. Tillman?
Yes.
Okay. Any other board members? Okay, if not, let's go ahead and, I need a motion.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Let's go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Okay, motion carried. Let's go ahead and turn to 7.2. Dr. Flores?
Yes, I would just like a clarification. I'm assuming that Blue Outdoor New York, this is the agreement for Blue Outdoor New York for advertisement in the Inland Center Mall. Are they the ones that control the media, the advertisement there?
Yeah, so we'll have Ms. Bardier speak to that specific item.
Mm-hmm. I guess my question is, what's the rationale for advertising?
She'll answer that question.
Thank you. We are going to be doing a massive advertising campaign from January until April. We are going to be sharing with the community the outstanding things that our schools are doing. We've noticed that our charter schools who are actually competing with us for our students have run similar campaigns on billboards and around the city. So we've targeted a series of billboards, bus stops, as well as advertisement in the mall. We do our request for change of schools and do a lot of enrollment-related activities during that time. So we're hoping to not only retain our current students, but capture future students that are coming to our area.
Okay, so it's informational, but also to attract our students.
Absolutely.
Okay. So, Madam President, those were my questions for 7.2, 7.32, and 7.35. Can I consolidate them?
Yes.
Okay, so for 7.2, 7.32, 7.35, I move that we
Approve.
adopt it, approve
Okay.
it.
Second.
A second, any discussion? Not, let's go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay. Motion carried. There's 7.6. Dr. Flores?
Yes. You know, I've been on the board a long time, and I feel real reluctant to approve anything that doesn't have a dollar value on it. And it just
I
says.
apologize, Dr. Flores. We're
Right.
just extending the agreement dates here, so
I
that
know, but
does not
but
change.
we don't know the amount.
The amount that's been already approved, is that what you
Yes,
mean?
yeah.
Yeah, we can get that for you.
Right.
It's 5 million. It
Five-
was approved
Five-
last year. Yes.
It's 5 million?
Last year.
Okay, so
No,
that,
no, no,
I
not
just.
fi-
No,
not
no,
5
no, no.
million, sorry, 5,000.
5,000.
Don't scare us. Do not scare us. We're gonna have.
Just a few zeros.
Lord.
It was 5 million, no wonder I raised it.
I think our eyes kind of was like, what is that number?
I'm sorry.
Um,
I apologize.
So I guess we should amend that and make sure that that's in there.
So the amount has already been approved.
just
There's
the
no
date.
new action the board's taking on the amount. So we've clarified just now that the amount is $5,000, that the action's been taken, that's
Right.
been paid. We're only
Well-
changing the dates. There's no change or additional
Right, but
cost.
Dr. Marsden,
Yep.
we should have the amount even though we're extending it.
You mean
Is
list it? in there? Oh,
Listed,
certainly, we
yeah.
can do that.
It should
Happy
be
to do
listed,
that.
yeah.
Happy to do that.
It would be listed. Okay, so moved.
All right.
Second.
Any discussion? Now let's go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Okay, motion carried. Let's go to 7.8. Dr. Flores?
The same issue. There's no dollar amount, and I'm not sure if it's every one of these entities that are going to be doing the asbestos, lead, and hazardous materials consulting services. And, I mean, it's important, as we had a public comment on it in terms of the asbestos in our schools from Ms. Negrete. So I'm not sure how much it is. I mean, I'm not opposing it, I'm just wondering how much it is.
Sure, and this is the time of year we'll approve master service agreements, but we'll have Ms. Christakis make any additional comments should she have any.
Excuse me, I'll get the amount to you, but this is what our facilities department uses as we embark on several of our facility projects so that these companies will evaluate and testing and monitoring for asbestos. I'm
Yeah,
waiting.
I understand that. It's just, how much are they charging us?
I think we won't know that until we've
Sorry.
engaged them in that assessment process. Then we'll go through, if my understanding is correct, then after we've engaged them, we'll determine the costs and bring those amounts back to you as a board to approve.
So what are we approving?
The master master service agreement, so we can go in and begin this consulting service effort.
But if I'm a business, I'm not going to go into a contract without knowing how much money I'm going to get for my services. That's my question.
We could
What
call- we
what
could
is
call-
the
okay,
cost?
We could call Mr. Paceup, but I'm sure in the contract, he could speak to it, that it talks about not to exceed, and it just depends on the type
Right.
of
Well,
testing, so.
Right, so
And I
I'm,
think for clarification, what it is you're identifying the vendors that are going to be allowed to do the work. So you won't have, once the work gets identified and these companies that come in and do the, compete for it, only these companies that have access to the work. Is that right, Mr. Pace? So this was all to determine.
Mr. Tillman, but what is the cost? What
Yeah,
are we
well,
approving?
let's have Mr. Pace come
Yeah.
and give a
That's
brief
my
comment.
question.
Sure.
What's the cost? We just can't blanketly, approve this without knowing what the cost is.
So the cost depends, the cost depends on the service requested at the time. So what we're approving now is to enter into a contract based on an hourly rate for future services to be provided.
Right. And do you know the hourly rate?
We do. And
So
that's how they
that's
were
what we should have put
evaluated.
in here.
So each company is different.
Uh-huh.
So we can list by company. If you want to see that hourly rate, we can add that or show that to you.
But to be clear, Mr. Pace, the board's not taking action tonight to approve a set dollar amount.
Correct.
That
It
would
is a zero cost at this point.
It would come back.
Oh, you're going to bring it back to
as
us
an
with the
action.
cost?
Correct.
So this is just to approve these,
These specific vendors.
For them to-
Specific vendors.
for
And as
them
we-
to give us contracts?
As an example, if we do further testing at San Bernardino High School, as an example, 4 months from now, we will ask these 5 companies to bid on the work based off the rates identified in their contract. We will then select the lowest bidder of
Okay,
those
so then
5.
you'll bring it back to us. Okay. I wasn't quite sure because it made it sound like we're approving them and their costs.
So
Okay.
their hourly rates are getting approved as part of their contract.
With this,
Yes, ma'am.
but we don't know what their hourly rate is.
We may never use them, we may use them. We can send you the hourly rates identified in their proposals if you like.
Okay, so we are approving the cost of them going out to see what they're going to do.
No, we are not approving any cost at this point. Only if we identify work for these individual companies to bid on
Only if you
at a later
identify
date.
work, and then you'll bring us back those contracts to approve.
We will identify the cost for the board.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
all right.
But just so I'm clear,
Okay.
you do the same thing for companies that provide air conditioning and heating?
Only on the consulting side. So professional services, we only do master service agreements for professional services, not for public works.
Okay.
And this is considered?
This is considered professional services. So what this company does is they do the monitoring and the testing. So if we feel like we are entering an area that potentially could have lead or asbestos, we bring a company out to do the testing, to issue the report, to issue guidance on how it should be removed or taken care of. And then they monitor the contractor that's been assigned to do the work to make sure that it's done in compliance with state
So,
regulations.
Mr. Pace, give me another example of professional services that we do the same type of thing for.
Survey.
Right.
So
Okay.
as we survey our campuses, land survey, we have a master service agreement for a land survey
So we're going
consultant.
to be looking at asbestos and lead in our pipes?
Primarily, when you look at lead, it's found in paint. And when we look at asbestos, it's primarily found in fireproofing. So
Mhm.
as we start to remodel some of our older elementary schools and high schools, we do anticipate coming across lead and asbestos materials. They will be dealt with at that time.
Okay. So moved.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and call for the vote, but before I call for the vote, I should be reading approval of master service agreements for asbestos, lead, and hazardous materials consulting services. All those in favor say aye. All
Aye.
opposed say nay. Motion carried. Now, 7.12, and that was also Dr. Flores, that's for education protection account spending plan for fiscal year 2018 and 19.
Correct. I just wanted clarification on, oh, I know what I wanted. I wanted to know what the amount was. Do we know the amount, Ms. Christakos?
7.16. Are you on 7.12?
7.12. It says that the education protection account on page 19, the second paragraph from the bottom,
Yes,
it
so
shall be spent as required. And
it's part of our LCFF. And what happened, if you'll recall, a couple years ago when we were just coming out of the recession, something passed, legislation passed that enabled school districts to not be cut any further. And part of the language said these dollars will only be spent on salaries, teacher salaries. And so we have to continue to do this report. I believe it was in 2012 or 13, I believe.
So
Ms. King will have the amount, but it's part of our LCFF.
So the Education Protection Act is only designated for salaries and benefits for teachers. It says that on the
Certificated, yes,
last
yes.
paragraph.
And
of-
so it
of the
was
resolution.
just, when they passed one of the propositions, what happened is they just didn't cut us further, and then they said these dollars have to be spent on.
Are designated
Yeah.
for that. Okay, that's, but we don't know how much.
Janet can tell you, it is part of the LCFF. She's looking it up, and we can get that to you. But we're required by law to show that this spent on salaries and
Yeah,
benefits.
because it involves monies, and we're approving it, and we're the fiscal, we have fiscal responsibility. I think it's really important that we know how much as a
Yeah,
board.
It's part of our revenue.
Right,
from
I know, but
LCFF.
it
So
should be
she'll-
specified here.
we'll make
Yeah.
sure it's in there in the
Okay.
future, and she's calculating that.
Right.
Are we waiting for the calculations right now?
Are we waiting for her? Did she find it?
When she gets it, I'll,
Oh, she found it.
okay.
Yeah, we can move on to the next item if you'd
She'll-
like, and we
she'll
can
get
just
it to
come
me.
back. She's got that. Oh, she's got it.
Do you have it, Janet? 1 minute? Okay, we'll move on. Yeah.
59.8 million.
59.8, okay, of LCFF money? Okay.
Okay, so then I go ahead, was there a motion?
Yes, so moved.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Okay, motion carried. Let's go to page 36, which is 7.49, agreement with the Boys and Girls Club, San Bernardino, California, to provide educational services.
You could take all those together, but I have to step out, okay?
Okay, so we're gonna take, go ahead, we're gonna take 7.49, 6.6, 7.64, 7.65, 7.66, all as a bundle. And I should be reading, though, the title that we're gonna be passing. And so let me continue. This is for the Boys and Girls Club, San Bernardino, California, to provide educational services for the Connect to Summer program at Holcomb Elementary School and King Middle School. And now we're moving to this, 7.64, which is ratification of the renewal agreement with Boys and Girls Club, San Bernardino, California, to provide a summer day camp program for the before and after school camps programs. 7.65, renewal of the agreement with Boys and Girls Club, San Bernardino, California, to provide comprehensive management and supervision of the after-school and before-school camps program at 8 elementary schools and 4 middle schools. And 7.66, renewal of the agreement with the Boys and Girls Club of San Bernardino, California, to provide management and supervision of the summer swimming program at the San Bernardino High School.
So moved.
Okay, any discussion? Not, let's go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Okay, motion carried. So if we can bring back to Mr. Tillman. There's also one more, 7.59, and this is with Dr. Flores.
And 7.77, I'll just put them all together,
Oh, I didn't get
both of them.
Okay.
And it's just for clarification, Dr. Marsden. By the way, they both are the same, they have the same description. And I think it's really good that we're having, someone provide technical assistance for social and emotional growth. And I'm just wondering if in the RFP, we're going to have evidence of growth. How are they going to provide evidence of or the results for the social emotional growth?
So specifically, the tracking is around the attendance, actually, but they work with the schools and the providing and the staff that works with the students to monitor students. If they're not coming, what's the problem behind it, get to the root causes. So they are much more, they don't provide the direct service to students. They're the technical support to the staff who does.
So are they going to provide us metrics?
In attendance specifically.
Only in attendance?
Yes.
Is it going to be like what? Ms. Carter showed us last school board meeting?
Because, no, this will be directly associated with our caps, and so to make sure that we meet the state requirement of attendance, which I believe is 95%, but I'll find that out for sure, what the actual number is, so that we can maintain our grant. So if we have students that are starting to drop out, we want them to be coming back, and we want to make sure that our attendance is sufficient and adequate.
So these two people are going to monitor 700 students at each school?
They divide the schools.
They divide the schools?
And
Okay.
and again, they work with the staff at the schools.
So who keeps track of all of this? Us or them?
Us. Our
Us.
CAPS program does. They work for the CAPS.
And they just provide the technical assistance?
Exactly.
Okay, all right, so moved.
And we're voting for both, and just let me
Yes,
read it, 7
both.
points. 5.9 is consultant services agreement with Nadifa Warren LLC, Fontana, California, to provide technical assistance to site-based programs, and 7.77, renewal of the consultant services agreement with Marie Desiree Romero Rainbolt, San Bernardino, California, to provide technical assistance to site-based programs. We have a motion, we have a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Okay, motion carried. Let's go ahead and go to 8.0, action items. 8.1, personnel report number 22, dated June 19, 2018. Dr. Wiseman?
As presented.
Okay, be resolved that that personnel report number 22, dated June 19, 2018, be approved as presented.
So moved.
Okay, any discussion? If not, let's go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Okay, motion carried. 8.2, adoption of the 2017 to 2020 Local Control and Accountability Plan Draft 2017 to 2018 Annual Update and 2018 to 2019 Plan.
So moved.
Okay, be resolved that the Board of Education adopts the proposed 2017-2020 Local Control Accountability Plan Draft 2017-2018 Annual Update and 2018-19 Update. And any discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Yeah, they did. They did. And motion carried. We're moving. Yes, we're moving. 8.3, adoption of the fiscal year 2018-19 budget.
So moved.
Okay, be it resolved that the Board of Education adopts the fiscal year budget as presented. Be it further resolved that the Board of Education, or the budget as adopted, reserves $23,248,074 for the cost of self-insured workers' compensation claims. And any discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Okay, motion carried. Now let's go to 8.4, approval of single plans for student achievement 2018-2019.
Madam Secretary, Madam President, I have a question I want to ask, but do we move it first? I forget. We move it first? Okay, I move to adopt.
Second.
Okay, and before you, okay, so go ahead with your board comment.
I just wondered, I've been on the board since 2008, and we approve, the school plans, and because, they're site-based and so forth. So I'm wondering, Dr. Marsden, do we ever get an assessment from the school site as to whether they met their goals, that they met their, their plan? I'm curious. I mean, they have a plan, they budget it out and so forth. So are there metrics that they use to, as evidence for them to say, okay, we accomplished this, we didn't accomplish that?
Yeah, so I'll have Dr. Mitchell answer your question, Dr. Flores. And the question was relative to the site plans, the board's received those, seen those. And the question Dr. Flores posed is, when does the board, or how does the board receive feedback in terms of how sites performed relative to that plan? And I would, my initial answer is that you receive those reports throughout the school year in terms of their achievement data and other data that's relative to that. But Dr. Mitchell, I'll let you speak to that and then make any other comments you may have on those points.
Thank you, Dr. Martin. So our schools have a formative assessment system, data protocols that they go through to analyze their data, as well as you're getting the CASP data. As you know, board, we've done a KPI presentation every month. Dr. Volkemer is walking us through scheduling the 18-19 KPI presentations. So every month, the board will get a student achievement. On the student achievement section, the board will get a KPI. We'll go deep on the program services and achievement levels for each of our board's KPIs. And so that's how we monitor the progress of our schools. Going down the line, just real quick, I'm passing out a flash drive with the LCAP plan and the SBCUSD plan on the drive. You'll have the executive summary for all of the schools' SBCUSD plans on that drive.
Right. So I'm just curious because in self-assessment, when at the university, we have our own, goals and plans, and we have to then have a self-assessment. Did we meet those goals? Did we, what's the evidence to show? And we do it together. So I'm just wondering if
Yep.
how valuable that would be for staff and everybody to see, hey, we accomplished this. I know that you give us KPIs, and I know you do all of that, but I'm just wondering about, sites actually saying, hey, we accomplished this, we need to do this,
Right.
in terms of doing self-assessments. I'm just curious.
Yeah, we actually do that. We call it our data protocol system. In fact, one of the topics for strategic abandon was less data protocols. So every month, with every formative piece of data that comes out, we have a very clear system for the staff to be reflective about their data. So they discuss their data outcomes and they develop action plans to improve. And we call that a data protocol. So we do it around attendance, suspension, third grade reading, DRA, TEL. I mean, so actually our school leaders are saying, hey, can we dial back on some of that? And so what we're doing next year is we're saying that these 5 or 6 data protocol discussions are mandatory. And then the others, for example, there's a data protocol around monthly suspension data. Well, if you're a school that doesn't have a whole lot of suspension data, we're no longer requiring you to have that conversation. So we're saying that we want schools to pick out relevant data protocols and discussions. And so it's very reflective. They start off with what does the data say, or what kinds of actions and practices is producing that data, and what are our action steps for the next month. So
the reason I'm raising that is because our kids are not doing well in math, and they're not doing well in literacy and language arts. And so it's real important to me, so that, Ms. Rogers brings this up all the time in terms of proficiency. Where are our kids? I mean, all of us do. Where are our kids? Where do we need to focus? What do we need to do if they're not moving? So anyway, that's why I bring it up.
Thank you, Dr. Flores.
Okay. Okay, so we already have a motion, and I do need to read, be it resolved that the Board of Education approves the single plans for student achievement, school-wide programs for the following schools. And so is...
I have a motion by Dr. Flores and a second by Mr. Gallo.
Okay, all those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion carried. Okay, 8.5, 2018-19, Consolidated Application and Reporting System, CARS, C-A-R-S, spring submission. And before we get the motion, be resolved that the Board of Education approves the June 19, 2018 spring submission of the district consolidated application for categorical program funds. Can I have a motion? Okay, any discussion? If not, let's go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion carried. 8.6, amendment to board bylaws 9250, remuneration, reimbursement, and other benefits. First reading.
Yes,
And there
Madam-
is, yes. and
Madam
Dr.
President, we do have a staff wants to read in a small change here. Dr. Wiseman wants to read that in.
Thank you, Dr. Marsden. So if you guys look down to the striking of the language, on page 57, it says the additional language effective July 1, 2018. That should read July 1, 2017, in alignment with the 4% increase for all of our other employee groups, retroactive.
Thank you, Dr. Wiseman.
Okay. All right, thank you so much. So then all I need is a motion. Okay, any discussion? If not, let's go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion carried. 8.7, San Bernardino City Unified School District Resolution for exemption to the separation from service requirements pursuant to Section 24.214.5 or 26.812 of the Education Code. Hershey McChesney. Be resolved, the Board of Education approves the exemption to the separation from service requirements for retired teacher Hershey McChesney. I need a motion.
So moved.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, let's go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carried. 8.8, San Bernardino Unified School District Resolution for exemption to the separation from service requirements pursuant to Section 24.21.4.5 or 26.812 of the Education Code. Mario Martinez. Be it resolved that the Board of Education approves the exemption to the separation from service requirements for retired teacher Mario Martinez. Okay, any discussion? Now let's go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. 8.9, motion carried. 8.9, Board Ongoing Initiatives. Can I have a motion? Any discussion?
Yeah, I just have a question. I'm
Go
not
ahead.
sure if it'll go in this one or where it'll fit. Where would we direct that we're monitoring our APG? Where does that fall under? Would that be somewhere in one of these or the others upcoming?
So that is part of our key performance indicators. So the question,
The A to G and the DNF rate, we've combined to collectively call grading practices committee and
So that's
dashboard.
under that dashboard one?
Yeah, yeah.
And so we'll get updates on APG?
Yeah,
and
quarterly updates, DF, A to
DF,
G,
A to G, and
because they're all related. We have a huge initiative around our grading practice.
Okay, great. So moved.
Okay, any further discussion? Not, let's go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carried. Let's go to 8.10, top 10. Do you have a motion?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? If not, let's go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carried. 8.11, board follow-up. Can I have a motion?
Second.
Any discussion? Now let's go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carried. 8.12, future agenda items. Can I have a motion?
Second.
Second. Any discussion? Okay, if not, let's go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carried.
And Madam President, just before the board's excused to close session, we didn't put it on the agenda, but we did want to have Dr. Volkermer give a summary of any board requests tonight as we had committed to you. And so just briefly, he'll provide a summary and make sure we've captured your thinking and requests tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Marsden. The first four are related to the budget discussion. So the notes I have are that we would provide additional information, including where we are last year in terms of budget dollars related to professional development. That was the first request. That was augmented in a second request to include other expenditures in relation to other line items. Mr. Gallo made that request and used the examples of safety expenditures and money spent on EL programs. The third was Ms. Rogers asked us to bring back update on the overall budget as it continues to be approved by the governor's office, et cetera. And then the fourth thing is to include carryover balances from various budgets of the district, not just one particular one, but all of the budget items. There was a request to clarify high school grad rates in terms of how the state reports it and what's the difference between a year-over-year and a four-year cohort, et cetera. And then the last one I have is when we bring a contract extension or, and this is my language, so help me clarify if I need to, but when we bring a contract extension or an amendment or some type of consent item, to have as much financial information as we can. So what are the hourly rates that are being approved? If we're just extending the length of a contract, what was the original amount for the contract, et cetera. And those are all the follow-ups that I have.
All right, thank you so much. We're going to go ahead and go into closed session. We will be reporting out.
Yes.
And just for you, those of you know, there will be time to have, I believe there's other items after that, so we will be, there's 10.1 and there's 10.2. All right, we'll see you in a bit. Okay, good evening again. We're back. We're going to go ahead, we're coming back from closed session. I'm going to go ahead and report the actions from closed session. 1, 2. Be it resolved that the Board of Education approves the appointment of the following employees: Bohannon Diane, Middle School Vice Principal, Chavez Middle School, effective date, work year, and salary to be determined, funding 035. Madrigal, I am going to do all of these together. Madrigal Robert, Middle School Vice Principal, Cesar Chavez School, effective date, work year, and salary to be determined, funding 035. Tucker Leslie, Middle School Vice Principal, Del Vallejo Middle School, effective date, work year, and salary to be determined, funding 035. And Soward James, Middle School Vice Principal, Shannon Hills Middle School, effective date, work year, and salary to be determined, funding 035. Have a motion? Okay, any discussion? If not, let's go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Okay, motion carried. Congratulations to all our new vice principals. Next one, be it resolved that the Board of Education approves a notice of recommendation for disciplinary action and statement of charges to dismiss the following classified employee from his or her employment with the district. HR-class 171809. A motion?
So move.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, let's call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Okay, motion carried. Next one is, be it resolved that the Board of Education accepts a notice of recommendations for disciplinary action and statement of charges to suspend without pay for 4 days the following classified employee from his or her employment with the district, HR Class 1718-10. Do you have a motion? Okay, any discussion? Now let's go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion carried. And then this one is requester, special education director, approver, assistant superintendent, continuous improvement. Number SS 171807, be it resolved that the Board of Education approves the settlement authority number SS 171806 in the amount of $19,475. Be it resolved that the Board of Education authorizes Deborah Love, purchasing director, to sign any related documents. Do you have a motion? A second. Okay. Any discussion? Not, let's go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor say aye. Okay, all those opposed say nay. Motion carried. So now we're going to 10.1, proposed increase in salary, confidential classified employees. We can before, do I need to read this? So I'm going to read a statement here. Be it resolved, number 1, each current confidential employee, classified employee of the district shall receive a 1% salary increase effective July 1st, 2016, and a 4% salary increase effective July 1, 2017. Number 2, each employee of the district employed as a confidential classified employee between July 1st, 2013 and June 30th, 2014 shall receive a one-time pro rata payment equal to 2% of the employee's respective base salary between July 1st and 2013 and June 30th, 2014. Number 3, beginning July 1st, 2018, confidential classified employees shall receive the same base salary as employees in corresponding classified bargaining unit classification. And did we have a motion? And we had a second, right? Any discussion?
Yes, just for clarification, I think we were told that's about 6 employees that are the confidential employees.
How many employees?
You are correct, Mr.
6
Timmons.
employees. All
About
right,
about
thank you.
approximately 6 employees. Thank you.
All right, thank you for the clarification. Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion carried. Let's go ahead and go to 10 point, where'd it go? Or is it? 10.2, resolution of the governing board of the San Bernardino Unified School District denying the charter petition for Transitional Lives Charter School. And I need a motion? Yeah, but we're gonna have that, we're gonna open it for discussion.
For discussion part.
So, once we have the discussion part, we'll just, before, or do you wanna do this beforehand?
If we're going to have comment, and comment may impact the decision, you should have the comment first before you make the motion. Just point of clarification.
Okay, but we can have the public comment, might as well, just go ahead. Okay.
Okay, so the board will allow public comment before they consider action on item 10.2. The board welcomes Ruby Flores, and there's also Catherine Ruggles. Good evening. We'll ask you to organize yourselves appropriately.
Hello. Oh. Hello, good evening, San Bernardino School Board. My name is Ruby Flores, and I'm here to speak on behalf of the approval of Transforming Lives Charter School. If approved, I will be part of a school and a team of teachers that generally cares for student success. Transforming Lives Charter Schools will provide students with skills that they would carry in a college-ready or career-ready setting. I just wanted to say that with the approval of Transforming Lives Charter School, I will be given the opportunity to work with students and provide students with tools in order for them to be successful. Students will be given the opportunity to develop social skills in order to be successful, and I believe Transforming Lives Charter School can be the change many students here in San Bernardino need in order for them to prepare them for the future. I grew up here in San Bernardino. I live here in San Bernardino, and I believe I would love to give back to the community, and that's why I decided to become a teacher. And I was given the opportunity to be part of Transforming Lives Charter School, and I really want to be a teacher in order for the students to, they need someone that they could relate, and I feel like I grew up here. I'm able to connect with them in different levels that some individuals cannot. So I feel like the students need someone, a school, and they need individuals like myself that grew up here and they can look up to and see success. And I feel like I've been successful, and I'm continuing to grow and learn. And I feel like this is the start for me and for the students. And I feel like Transforming Life Charter School is the start for many students and myself. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Flores. Good evening.
Good evening. Hello, my name is Catherine Ruggles, and I'm here to speak for the Transforming Lives Charter School. As a college student and a recent graduate from high school, I believe it's important to have a charter school in every district because it gives students a chance to not give up and know there is someone out there who believes in them and knows that they can complete what they want to complete. It gives students a chance to not care about them and it gives students a chance to know that someone cares about them and wants them to know they want to accomplish their goal if they put their heart and mind to it at all times. The school will give students a chance to go somewhere they can achieve their goals and graduate instead of giving up and dropping out because they're unable to do it or because they just failed one class and felt like they don't deserve to graduate anymore or go to school anymore. If I was still in high school and struggling to graduate, I would want to go here because I know I'll be able to find a way to graduate on time and have strong supporters from teachers every step of the way. I also feel they deserve a chance because, as they always say, you don't know what can happen unless you give them a shot to do it. And I believe that these teachers will find a way to make the students care about school and actually want to be focused on it and prepare them for college, because the real world is a struggle. And they have to know what it's going to be like to get through college and also accomplish their careers and make it all happen. So thank you all, and I wish you guys a wonderful rest of the day.
Thank you very much, Ms. Ruggles.
Good evening, board. As you see, I gave you a packet regarding the slideshow that just came up.
Let's have you remove the microphone from the stand. You'll have to hold it next to your mouth so we can hear you. I apologize. It's just a little sensitive.
No, that's okay. I've been told I can be kind of soft-spoken, so
Thank you.
So let's go ahead and get started. You have your PowerPoint also in front of you, and we're going to start off with clearly defining the school so that that way there's no question in what we are absolutely about. Now, there's a few things that you addressed and that we will also be addressing in this slideshow. Petitioners demonstratively unlikely to succeed. Implement the set forth the petition. Diana McKee is highly competent, bachelor's in marketing, teaching credential, biological sciences, master's in school counseling, master's in education, leadership, and administration. She has worked both charter and district schools. Okay, and also was a liaison between Santa Ana College and an early college high school. Okay. Also, at this time, because of the budget, Diana McKee is listed as the principal and the executive director because the budget only calls for one administrator. Neither role allows Diana to be a voting board member. She's not a voting board member, nor will she. Okay? The board takes all responsibility, just like you guys, on what things happen with the school. Is that correct? Okay, so that one's addressed. Okay, we went through all 15 comprehensive descriptions with Chris DeKell, David Morrow, Dr. Precious Taylor, and a few other reputable people from the community that have written charter petitions before. So it just was not written by one, it was written by many. We have 5 out of 7 teachers, which is over 51%. Currently, we do have 10%, but we have been knocking on doors. We've been going to events, trying to recruit a lot of the students. We've also gone to several of the foster and adoption agencies in order to recruit students because that's a high needs population. And I've worked with them when I was with Olive Crest. So I'm aware of what their baggages are. Our mission, Transforming Society's mission, empower students to be successful leaders who encompass 21st century skills necessary for college, career, and beyond. Our purpose, students to excel academically, professionally, and personally at the highest level. Okay, so we're addressing the whole student. Our board members, Mia Ontiveros, Carlos Garcia with FYI Technology. He was here tonight, but he had to go sign docs at 8 o'clock. Alma Diaz, she had family emergency. She had to go back up to Central California. And Diana Martin, she broke her arm last week in 3 places with her humerus. So she's bedridden. Otherwise, they would have all been here. Okay? Teachers, Reggie Love III, single subject mathematics, clear credential. Ann Ruggles, who is here this evening, and you've heard her speak. Ruby Flores, they're both preliminary credential teachers, one in social studies, one in PE. John Richter, single subject business, preliminary credential. Robert Bujosa, he's moved from Texas, formerly from Riverside, now living back in Riverside, has a single subject in science. We're still trying to recruit an English and a special ed teacher. Our location, we're going with the Little Mountain Business Park, 2700 Little Mountain. We're starting with building C, D, and E. Our start date, we're looking to start on September 11th, 2018, with our school hours being 7:45 to 2:35. The school calendar contains 180 instructional days. Our grades, 7 through 12 high school. Our school year begins with grades 7 and 8, and after that we will be adding 1 grade level each year after that. So we're opening responsibly. Funding sources, we're looking at charter capital. We've been speaking to some impact investing groups, local control funding, federal, and seeking more grants. Who are we targeting? Foster, homeless, disengaged. Why? In California, 5.8 of every 1,000 children are in foster care. San Bernardino County is 8.3 per every 1,000. So it's higher. After reaching the age of 18, 20% of foster youth are instantly homeless. 1 out of every 2 foster youth will have gainful employment by the age of 24. That's a 50% rate. Okay, that needs to be remedied somehow. And we're looking to do it. Homeless, according to California's Homeless Project in 2013, San Bernardino County has a youth homeless population of 33,274, which translates to 8.1% of the total youth population. Now, some of that probably does not take in consideration families that live in a single-family home that have 3 families in it. According to the McGinty-Pinto Act, they are considered homeless as well. Disengaged youth, according to Measure of America, the national youth population that are disengaged, 12.3. Okay, state of California is 12.2. San Bernardino County is at 21.2 of students that are disengaged with work and school. That's why we're focusing them on those populations. They need to have education relevant, and they feel like it's relevant and engaging. Fuel education. A lot of questions have come up about it. It is digital, yes it is. But it also can be manipulated for blended learning and for project-based learning units, and using it for integrated curriculum strategies. Teachers can put projects in. If they're doing a 3-unit project, or a 3-week project for a unit, they can turn around and put that into the program where students can get a grade for it. But they're still doing things hands-on, not necessarily in the computer. So it's blending the technology with hands-on. Okay? Questions? Okay. And also, they provide the course recommended books. Field education does general education courses, English, math, science, social studies, electives. Field education, career technical education courses. These are just some of what they offer: health sciences, manufacturing, business, information technology. And special education students are placed in least restrictive environments according to their IEPs, and any accommodations and modifications that need to be made will be done according to the IEP. Supplemental curriculum, there is Middlebury Interactive Learning. This comes out of Middlebury College back east. Fuel Education has a contract with them. So they work hand in hand together. They cover their English language courses, and whatever foreign language you can come up with, they offer the foreign languages as well. iPly Global, you got to meet them the past couple of times, and if you notice the MOU that we have with iPly that we got signed up April 16th, you have a copy of it. Okay, they're helping us with also supplemental curriculum with general education online courses like English, math, science, and helping us with any of the interventions that we need to do. iPly Global is also helping us with the workforce and career education online courses like cybersecurity and project management. Project management is key for workforce development because with the students can be working together to get a project done either for the school or for the community, they'll know how to do it step by step. And they'll be prepared to go into a project management position as well after they graduate. Testing structure, this is a copy of our testing structure. We're testing at the beginning of the year because we want to find out where the students are at and what interventions that we can implement at the very beginning of the school year. So we're not waiting till first quarter benchmark to find out what they're doing or what they're not doing. We want to catch them ahead of time to help them out right away. We'll also be doing an end of year to find out what their growth is from their baseline testing at the beginning of the year to what they're doing at the end of the year to see where their growth was. We have all of the state testing that is mandated by the state that we'll be doing. We have the quarterly benchmarks that we are going to be doing. Final exams and other informal exams that teachers always implement within the classroom. Those are definitely part of our testing structure. Our school day, we are doing block schedules. Block schedules gives our teachers the opportunity to take the material more in depth than you would in a 55-minute class period. So our class periods are about 75 minutes. You can see Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday. We also have a homeroom period, which is also what we're calling cohort. So there will be in groups of 25 in that class, but their teacher's going to be working with them too to help them build up whatever skills that they need, whatever soft skills that the curriculum is teaching them right now. So they are prepared to turn around and call businesses and say, hey, we're having a college career fair, can you come out? They learn how to talk to people and not just talk through the phone as normal. They'll learn how to use their phones as tools instead of games and social media, more than just social media. Project Fridays, now this is going to be fun. Project Friday, Project 1 is where we're working on community projects. Project 2 is where we're working on school projects. Say we want to have a college career day or we want to have an open house. The students are working on it, facilitated by the teachers. Okay, Project 3 is where we're going to be doing a lot of our interventions to support what's been being done in the classroom. So they'll have time for that. Homeroom, again, is going to be on Fridays so they can do reflections over what they learned during the week. Okay, whether it's from their community service that they've done or their internships that they've been done, the projects that they're working on, so they can start seeing what growth that they are doing. Okay, as you can see, the structure is defined. Academics on Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday. Project Fridays is your interventions and your workforce development strategies. And giving them also the help to do community projects, do school projects, okay, school-wide projects, where we're inviting the community to come in. Companies with an MOU, as you see, I gave you a copy of the MOU. And that is the agreement between iPly and Transforming Lives Charter School. It provides supplemental general education courses, English, math, career technical education online courses. It's also giving us access to a lot of our technology through Cisco, through Samsung, through trying to think of all the ones that we're working with. He's got about 175 companies that he's partnered with. And since we are in a partnership with them, we have access to those. So a lot of our technology is coming straight in, and it's coming with signature grants as well. End of the year expectation. Students are proficient in English and math along with other core courses. Students accomplish the steps toward the school's purpose. That is what we're hoping at. That is our desire to see, not our hope, our desire to see students accomplishing what they need to do in order to get things done to make them successful and make them feel like education is being relevant, that they are actually doing something that matters. So if they're taking geometry and they're like, why am I taking it? I've heard that so many times in my years of education. Why am I doing geometry? Well, you see that building over there and we're going to start remodeling it? You're starting to look at angles. You're starting to look at areas. So that's going to help them start applying what they're learning in the classroom into a lot of these projects that we're working on. So we're trying to make it real-world application straight up. So kids have an understanding of what's going on and they can apply what they're learning in the classroom. That's our desire. That is our expectation. And I would love to partner with you guys to make hope happen in San Bernardino. I think we can do it. Because I think we have a lot of good things going on in each other's realm. But I want to make sure that if you do have any questions, that I do address those for you so that we can partner together to get things done. That's my heart desire.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your comments. And board, there are no further public comments on this topic.
Oh, there's more.
We'll just move. I know Mr. Gallo has a comment, but we'll wait until after. Oh, there's no more? Okay, that's it. Okay, Mr. Gallo?
Yes, I just wanted to ask, our charter schools director if the information, the new information that we were provided with tonight, the MOU and any of the information in the presentation, addressed any of the significant deficiencies that we saw outlined in item 10.2.
No, they did not. And there is also significant legal issues that we're facing with this as well. Thank you.
Any other board comments? If not, let's go ahead and call for the vote. I need a motion.
So move.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, let's call for the vote. All those in favor say aye. Oh, wait, hold on one second. Where is it? Oh, I had read it earlier, but I'll go ahead and repeat it again. Resolution of the Governing Board of the San Bernardino City Unified School District denying the charter petition for Transforming Lives Charter School. We have a motion, we have a second. We passed the public discussion or the board discussion. And let's call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Okay, motion carried. Any abstain? Okay, let's move forward to 11.0, which is adjournment. Thank you, everyone. I think we've ended at a good time, 9:15, a little bit less than 9:15. Thank you so much. Good evening.